Sorry, I know, I'm late. I had a mate come over and just put everything behind. It really did. But we're here. Right, sort of. I still got problems with OBS and signing in, but we'll make it work. Now if we share X and right. So we're going to go through and we're going to watch some videos on the live stream. It's going to be pretty chilled today. And we might also go through and do some game dev. So, right. Little ferret is there. Or raccoon, whatever he is. And for the Brave window, we want that one. Right. Okay. Let me go get my drink and we'll be starting in a minute or two. Alright, so plan for the day is we're simply going to go through, watch some videos, comment on it while possibly doing some game dev. Now guys, I don't have access to the chat, but if I put that there, I do. Gotcha. Right. Obviously, anything that you guys want me to watch, obviously feel free to. But apart from that, we'll just jump straight into it, I suppose. All right, so all right. So first thing is Elon Musk. Actually, no, let's do that second.
Donald Trump has made a
because.
What's up, y'all? Got a bang.
we can
Yeah, there we go. Right, let's watch this and let's see what the establishment have to say.
surprise appearance at the UFC, and well, he was received like a king.
Wish the people at home could hear the sound in this room. It's so loud in here. It is so.
So you can actually see Elon's in the background here. Dana White, Trump, RFK actually shows up. I've seen this clip.
Loud.
So that I think is Elon there actually.
It's always loud when he comes in, but now that he's won, now that he's the president again, oh my God.
That is quite a reception.
Amazing.
And it wasn't just the crowd. Even UFC fighter John Jones honoured the president-elect by doing a YMCA dance.
He did the Trump dance. He did the Trump dance.
I don't think I've ever seen a UFC fighter
do a dance.
do moves like that.
No.
Joining us now is our man in the US, journalist and commentator Brad Palumbo. Brad, watching those images, I mean, Trump was treated like an actual rock star. Help us here in Australia to understand a UFC crowd and why Trump was greeted that way.
Yeah, these are his people. These are the people who love him, right? This is working class Americans, their form of entertainment. You won't catch many PhDs in the audience or coastal elites. So this is the exact kind of atmosphere and audience of people that got President Trump reelected. And he's clearly thriving and enjoying all the fans and all the love. But I will just say it's great to see him having a good time. He's got about a month of this victory tour before the work kicks in, and he's going to have quite the job on his hands. So enjoy it while it lasts, because after January 20th, I don't know if he'll have time for too many UFC appearances.
Well, speaking of getting down to work, Brad, the new border czar, Tom Homan, means business. He seems to be a real sharpshooter, likes to get straight into work, unlike his predecessor. Have a look.
Up with education, down with deportation. Up with education, down with deportation.
I got a message to the millions of illegal aliens that Joe Biden's releasing our country in violation of federal law. You better start packing now.
Oh, I love that. I love it. I think that's so good. Yeah. And Brad, you know, unlike Kamala, this guy is not at a dance party with Beyonce. How much confidence is there that he will actually get this done and turf out those illegals?
I think he'll do whatever he can to enact President Trump's promises of widespread deportation efforts, because I think what we're going to see is a pendulum swing. The Biden administration took immigration so far out of control. So just let the border become an absolute mess under, yes, border czar Kamala Harris. Then they tried to gaslight us and say she was never border czar, but she very much was, and it was very publicly reported and widespread at the time. I think Trump's going to crack down, and his new appointee really does seem to have that same agenda in mind. One thing that happened a lot during the first Trump presidency was he would have appointees or staff who would not actually see eye to eye with him and would just kind of play along and say they were on his side, but then actually try to enact a different agenda behind the scenes or thwart him. I think this time is going to be different, for better or worse, depending on your perspective. He's going to staff his administration with true believers. And if anything, immigration is going to be the prime example of that, where his policies are going to be implemented.
Yeah, it certainly seems Donald Trump is very aware he's got one term. He's going to give it everything he's got, and he's not going to be...
I'm not upset about that, to be honest. Like, I want him to be the bull in the china shop. At the end of the day, like, obviously these are establishment, right? This is Sky News, it's literally establishment. But, you know, obviously it is also Sky too, so it is conservative establishment, we'll say. Right. But at the end of the day, I'm not upset by Trump wanting to make appointments and get things done. I think that's great.
Intimidated or concerned what other people think. The bitter banshees over at The View, Brad, I know it's one of your favourite TV shows, have had another shocking week. This time Whoopi Goldberg has been caught out after she claimed a Staten Island bakery refused to serve her because of her left-wing views. But in fact, it turns out they couldn't serve her or any other customer because their oven had broken down.
Rather than commit to something they couldn't guarantee, they said we can't do it. And the person who besmirched and defamed them took that as an insult to her. Well, get over it. This family will be here for, God willing, another 145 years.
Brad, do you really watch The View? And has Whoopi Goldberg completely lost it?
Well, I only watch it because fans of my podcast, Brad versus Everyone, love to hate watch it with me and see what woke victim nonsense they're up to. Like this time, Whoopi Goldberg basically made up a victim script for herself, imagined some oppression, but I'm sorry, Whoopi, your victim card is being declined. It's like she thinks that, oh, well, I'm a celebrity and I'm really important, so they can't possibly have issues with their boiler at a dessert place. They must be discriminating against me. You're not actually that important outside of a very narrow slice of liberal elite society. But they've made victimhood a form of social currency in woke circles and in progressive media. So they're always falling all over each other to see how oppressed they can be and how, oh, woe is me. And if there's just that pesky little problem that it's not actually true, that doesn't really matter much. I mean, we've seen that over the years with mainstream media.
No, you're absolutely right. But God, they're just so bitter. You just look at them all and just go, goodness me, get back to actually telling stories and doing your job. Now, before we let you go, Brad, Disney is back to its woke ways. Here is the actress playing the new Snow White, giving us a rundown on the new film.
No longer 1937.
She's not going to be saved by the prince.
She's not going to be saved by the prince, and she's not going to be dreaming about true love. She's dreaming about becoming the leader she knows she can be, and the leader that her late father told her that she could be if she was fearless, fair, brave, and true. The original cartoon came out in 1937, and very evidently so. There's a big focus on her love story with a guy who literally stalks her. Weird.
Oh dear, Brad. Now love stories have fallen the way of woke. Now that's offensive.
Yeah, and she's the same lovely soul who just put out a message wishing Trump supporters that they never know peace. So we have an epidemic on our hands of out-of-touch actresses and celebrities. I mean, why accept a role if you clearly despise it of a beloved classic? Like, maybe don't take that role then. Or if you do decide to take that role, don't trash it and insult all the fans who are the only reason you have a career or you have this opportunity in the first place. The divide between America's elites and normal, sane people, it just seems to me is growing every single day. And people like this are just widening that divide every time they open their big mouths.
Yeah, that's very, very clear. Brad Palumbo, once again, thank you so much for helping us make sense of America.
Thanks, guys.
So, as for the Whoopi Goldberg
And now it's time for a special edition of...
As for the whole Whoopi Goldberg thing, look, to be honest, I heard about that today. I think it was, or yesterday. She literally claimed, and she didn't say 100% they had a problem with her politics. They said that they couldn't fulfill her order, and maybe they have a problem with my politics, I think she says. So at the end of the day, look, do I think she might have shot from the hip a bit too fast? Yeah, I do. But at the end of the day, she didn't mention the bakery's name. Fair. But, apparently it's the only bakery in the area, so, still. Wasn't hard for people to work out which one it was. But, yeah, they had problems with their boiler. It wasn't even about Whoopi or politics or anything. They couldn't complete any orders on that day, I believe. So, yeah, but funny. All right, let's jump on to the thing here. So, this is obviously Elon Musk looking at memes on Twitter. Is that Elon Musk saying, I'm watching myself watch this, laughing out loud. The king of trolls, everybody. Now, we also do have this song that is Trump 24 Comeback Anthem. It's a Wrecking Ball parody. It was put out 5 days ago. Let's see what it has to say.
They tried, they sued, they threw the book. They thought they'd keep him down. They used the courts, tried every trick, but he's still coming round. They schemed, they fought to make him fall, but all their plans fell flat. They took their shots, he took them all, and He's coming like a wrecking ball. He's never hit so hard before. Now he's gonna build the wall, and he's gonna make you see. Yeah, you're gonna see. Now Elon's here to cut the cost. The budget's coming down, and Robert's cleaning FDA while the CDC's unwound. Don't you ever think we just walked away? We'll always fight through. We can't fake a smile, the stakes are high. We'll always want truth. He's coming like a wrecking ball. He's never hit so hard before. We're drilling for the few we need, and raising terrorists high. Yeah, we're gonna fly. He never meant to start a fight. He just wanted us to win. Instead of going down, we'll rise and bring back pride within. Don't you ever say we just walk away. We'll always fight for truth. He's coming like a wrecking ball. He's never hit so hard before. Now he's gonna build the wall, and he's gonna make you see. Yeah, he's coming like a wrecking ball. The land we love's coming back strong, and he's gonna build the wall and bring us liberty. Yeah, you're gonna see. Yeah, we're setting free.
That's actually pretty good, actually. Not gonna lie. And
I'm encouraging everybody.
And it's kind of funny that it's Miley Cyrus too, because I think she absolutely hates Trump. Well, she claims to, although, you know, wasn't her dad conservative? But, you know. Anyway.
Everybody to get out and vote, please.
It ain't over.
Yeah. Right. Now, conservative women are roasting the 4B feminists.
Banger from Piers World. Let's get straight into it.
Not that my content reaches a lot of men because I have an IQ of 130, but I want the men in this country to know that half the female population, we're dry. We're probably gonna stay dry. I'm dry as a desert, baby. Let's make some money, I guess. That's all we can do. Desert, baby.
So, I've already spoke about this. We've already covered this video. But we haven't seen his reaction to it yet. As I said back in the day, like, you know, like, so conservative men want you women to have, or stop having unprotected sex and having abortions. So the liberal women are going on a sex strike. Okay. No, please don't, I suppose. Like, isn't you kind of giving the men what they want? But, you know, keep going.
What?
And I don't want it to change. Yeah, we're not gonna like you anymore. You understand that? Like, it doesn't matter if you take away abortion. Like, we'll want to have your babies even less, right?
Well, isn't this the greatest form of natural selection? All the man-hating women are getting out of the gene pool and the women that love men are going to be getting in relationships, do they not realize they're self-sabotaging?
You take away contraception. Like, women are really good at celibacy because you guys are actually a threat to us. So we have a lot less to gain from you. So yeah, 4B all the way. Let's make some money, I guess. That's all we can do now.
Having an IQ.
What? Let's make some money. Man, she really got us, guys. She really got us.
I like how women are now on the 4B movement because Donald Trump won, as if that's like a diss. First off, a lot of y'all women probably already posted your half-naked body online in bikinis or whatnot, so people already seen it, so no mystery there. Second,
This girl is so based. I love her. She's awesome.
you probably already been ran through more times than a choo-choo train, so...
She's a runner, she's a track star.
Let her cook.
The body that you're withholding, men are already smashed. You're not really hurting anybody with this. Actually, you're probably helping yourself a lot because, you know, you can just stop your body count right where it is. You can never make it go lower, but at least you can quit it. You know, you can stop, halt, pause. You can't get, you know, don't let it get worse. At least there's that. And I'm honestly glad that Donald Trump won because a lot of you fatherless women got the message, you know, somehow at least. You didn't really get there the way it should have, but it got there.
She went too far.
Bro, she is cooking. This girl, I got to go check out her account here in a bit just to see, because I know she probably got more content.
But that's over. Can we start focusing on the more fucking important shit here? Because
Is she okay?
I know she ain't talking about us.
She ain't talking about us. No, that's for you, boo-boo. And how do you still have a concept of a plan and not an actual plan? Did you really come to us and say, can we, who is we?
What do you mean, who is we? The sisterhood, no? She's talking to the sisterhood. Let's focus on the real problems.
Is that
Y'all, they speak in French and I'm from America.
No, baby.
I'm cool.
We're not doing it. Did you see her follow-up video? She was like, I know what y'all would have done during slavery. I'm sure that we know what we would have been dealing with during slavery. What would your white ass be doing during slavery? I'm just wondering what's happening.
I know what I would have been doing during slavery. This.
Exactly. Anyway, we're gonna try to go inside and have some discussions with members of Congress to save some semblance of democracy because we actually make plans and we have our own concepts of a plan. We have work to do, but you can handle that. You can handle that.
Girl, how did they
That's all you. All I'm gonna say is,
You know what? I love it. And I don't care if they're Republican or Democrat. I'm all for ladies getting there and having those discussions and making those changes. So good on those two women right there.
I'm black, not POC. We are not the same. Don't ever put us in the same. We are not. I'm black.
Oh, man, look. This.
Oh, okay. Thank you. I'll do that.
Oh, your own man.
Honestly, that's how Cass identifies. She's like, don't call me a person of color. Call me black.
That funny.
Let me know if that's better.
The same black women that be on this app screaming,
Let me know if that's better.
girl, get you a white man. Get you a white man. Girl, you better get you a white man. They treat you better. Get you a white man, girl.
Where are the divestors? That's who I haven't seen. They have been dead quiet. Where are the divestors? They got MIA. Where they at?
I know the dating scene sucks, but so does getting hurt in an accident. Have you ever found yourself involved in a personal injury or the people leave?
What it is. Kamala Harris has been running a whole campaign.
Shots fired!
Now let me put my disclaimer out there.
Shots fired!
I'm gonna just call it exactly what it is. Kamala Harris has been running a whole campaign.
Shots fired!
Now let me put my disclaimer out there. This is intended for entertainment purposes only. These are my own thoughts and my own opinions. Since Kamala Harris stepped foot in this race, the only thing that she has been promoting to young women is whole activities. From the performances of Meg Thee Stallion to the speeches of Cardi B, as if we don't know how all of these women have been operating in the industry, tells you one thing. This is not about no reproductive rights. This is about whole activity rights. Y'all can be mad with me if you want to, but it's the truth. For the old women that have had that type of lifestyle already, I'm not talking to y'all. These are also the same women that get on the internet and be crying about how when they 60 years old pushing, how they need a man and how they want a man. Vivica Fox. I want to talk to the younger women because in the Bible,
Vivica Fox, man, she blew the best years of her life, poor baby. She had a shot, she really did, but now she's like 60 talking about, I want to settle down. I want a good man. Baby girl, that ship has sailed.
It says that the wise women will teach the young women. And you got a lot of these older women that wants to compete with these young women, and they don't have any wisdom to give you.
Who's this? What's his name?
Well, I've always said this, man. Age doesn't constitute maturity, bro. You can be old and childish.
These women that she has put in front of you for her campaign all have relationship issues, issues with their reputation, issues with their some alleged activities, P. Diddy, to go on. These are no women to be listening to or looking up to at all. They all have had to do some strange things for some change in order to make it. Harlotry is something that never ends well for women. Now, you can listen to these bitter old women if you want to.
Look, in my opinion,
harlotry. I've never heard it never heard it called harlotry. I've heard of a harlot, but never harlotry. It's the art of harlot.
Then y'all talking about some, yeah, let's do the 4B plan where we don't talk to men, we don't date, we don't kiss, we don't look, we don't touch, we don't. Bitch, I don't want to do that shit. The fuck? Like what? Y'all already pissing me off enough with this election shit. Y'all talking about something, oh yeah, and ladies? No! I don't want to do that shit, bitch. I just want to, like, bitch, what the fuck? Like, what? I don't want to do no 4B shit. I don't want to do that shit. I love my man. What are y'all talking about? Like, what the fuck? I want...
I'd love to see it. There's a lot of women out there in happy relationships. Cass is one of them. But I guess it really just depends on your beliefs. So I'm always a firm believer of you attract what you are, and if you have a lot of hatred in your heart, more than likely that's what you're going to attract. And here's how as I've gotten older, Loki, can we not lick under grundles, please? Thank you so much. We're on camera.
Anyway, let's move on. Trump's put out a new video.
And now officially project that Donald Trump will become the 47th president of the United States. He will be going back to the White House.
I will fight for you, for your family, and your future with every breath in my body.
We're never going to stop fighting for you, for your dreams, for the future of your children. We're going to lead the greatest comeback in American history under Donald Trump's leadership.
God spared my life for a reason, to restore America to greatness. Together we can truly make America great again.
Oh. And Sargon has talked about the state of Blue Sky. So basically all these people on Twitter are running off to...
And ladies and gentlemen, look who is
now... running off to Blue Sky. And, well, Blue Sky's not going well.
Did a Blue Sky account when the platform first launched, just so I could get my own name tag on there so someone else didn't take it and start posting under my name. I'm quite pleased with that profile picture. But as you can see, I haven't used it yet, and why would I? I have my Twitter account back. Why would I bother using this? In fact, I don't think I've ever logged into it, although I did get a message the other day telling me that Kurt Eichenwald was following me. I wonder if I can see him on my phone.
Who the hell's Kurt Eichenwald?
It's just a very... Kurt Eichenwald. New York Times bestselling author and hentai aficionado, I think it was, or tentacle porn or something. Okay, weird, but like I said, I've never used it. So I logged into it the other day and I had a look, and this is the kind of thing that you're presented with. Blue Sky themselves saying another day, another million new people joining, so that's 18 million users. That's actually a very small social network, but okay, fair enough, good for them. 18 million libtards have joined Blue Sky, that's good. And the first thing I'm presented that's not the app itself is Otto English obsessing over Twitter. And obsessing over Twitter appears to be a lot of what Blue Sky users do. See, isn't this so much better than Twitter? Yes. Aren't we all glad we're here? Yes. Why are we still talking about Twitter? We're not sure. Otto says, the best case for leaving Twitter is that now that the swamp-dwelling paid blue ticks, even the famous ones won't follow. They're too invested in the musk of MAGA. Sensible people of all political shades will, and we have an opportunity here to reset the discourse and bring back a degree of rationale. I think he means rationality. Okay, interesting. What are we talking about here then? We're just whining about the right wing. Right. Okay. It's literally just libtard central, which I shouldn't be too surprised about. And that's literally all they're talking about, is how great being a libtard is and how much they hate MAGA. MAGA's just the most evil thing they've ever encountered. So I was going to post something on there to own the libs, as you do in classic 2016 style. But I didn't actually know what I was doing. Am I tweeting? Am I zeeting? Am I publishing? Am I Skyping? I didn't know, but apparently they do have a word for it. And that word is skeet. Skeet. They're skeeting. Apparently if you go to like Urban Dictionary and stuff, you find that skeet means something gross. And I don't really feel like skeeting on the internet, actually. Remember, kids, whatever you post on the internet is there forever and you'll never get rid of it. So best not to go skeeting on the internet, I would suggest. Okay, I won't be doing that then. So, like I said, what exactly were we to expect? Well, thankfully there's an account here called Libs of Blue Sky that is doing the hard work for us. They're on Twitter, of course. Go and give them a follow if you'd like to know more. But as you can see, we've got Marxist Barbie, who organises Danish Marxist conferences and rant about capitalism and gender politics. Oh, definite follow. Insta-follow. Accessories include pink handbag version of the Communist Manifesto. Resentment towards Danish media and politicians. I love when they just admit, yeah, no, we're really resentful, spiteful mutants. And we really just hate the people around us who are actually really successful. And what we would want, as her third point is a great levelling. We're sick of the things you've built that make us feel inferior, and actually we would like to tear it all down rather than improve ourselves so we can have a bit of self-confidence and...
Let's face it, these social media platforms, like, it's so hard to grow. So hard to grow your own site on this. This is what the situation that Rumble is facing. There's no way that like Blue Sky is going to take off when Twitter is still a viable option. So when you sit there and you're like, oh my god, we gotta leave Twitter and go to Blue Sky. It's like, okay, but Twitter's still going to be there. Twitter's still going to be the option that everybody... Oh, why am I not subscribing to this channel? That everybody sort of sits there and goes to. While that's viable, you're never going to be viable at Blue Sky. But, yeah. I did see this. This is the entrance with... So, this is showing who's here. And you notice there's Elon Musk there, Kid Rock, Dana White, Trump, Joe Rogan is there.
Making his way...
Wow, it's loud. Hang on a sec, guys. Sorry.
To the world-famous Octagon, flanked by UFC CEO Dana White, 45, soon to be 47, President-elect.
I think Don's in the background, Don Jr.
Wish the people at home could hear the sound in this room.
It's so loud in here.
It is so loud. It's always loud when he comes here, but now that he's won, now that he's the president again, oh my God.
So Donald Trump making his way to watch the UFC, which he absolutely loves, and doing so with some sort of victory lap after regaining the presidency earlier this month in emphatic fashion with an election blowout of the Democratic candidate, Kamala Harris. Congratulations.
So, Joe Rogan, watch the he literally runs over to him.
Congratulations.
system.
I don't know who the guy in the teal suit is. But yeah. I'm a little bit ignorant when it comes to the UFC. So this is what the Sky's News did not show you. They cut this all out. So we got Kid Rock, obviously, Dana, and by the way, Bobby Kennedy in the background too.
From all of these New Yorkers and all the fight fans around the world who have made their way to UFC 309. Robert Kennedy alongside.
Yeah.
Taking a position in Donald Trump's cabinet.
Who would have thought we see a Kennedy and a Trump running as a Republican? God damn, it feels good.
Nobody sitting inside Madison Square Garden.
Spared my life for a reason, to restore America to greatness. Together we can truly make America great again.
I wonder what's going through Kennedy's head. He must be sitting there thinking, like, this is crazy. He's a Republican now. Or was it Tulsi that switched? One of them switched, eh? But he must be sitting there thinking, like, not under his wildest dreams would he think he have a position in a Trump cabinet and just like going to a UFC with Trump. It's crazy. I love the fact it's taking care of business too. I need to go turn the water off.
All right, about a minute to go here with our prelim coverage before we spin it over to pay-per-view at the top of the hour. Festive atmosphere doesn't even begin to describe it here inside the world's most famous arena.
All right, good timing.
First to the fallout from the US election, some journalists don't appear to be coping very well at all.
That's probably an understatement.
Knowing all that we know about Donald Trump, his vulgarity and venality, his 34 felony counts and adjudicated sexual abuse of E. Jean Carroll, and so many other women he preyed on, his buddy-buddy relationship with Jeffrey Epstein, his theft of classified documents, his fealty to Vladimir Putin.
They keep going on about this buddy-buddy relationship with Epstein. Here's the truth. He banned Epstein from his hotel and casinos literally a few years later. Like, what buddy-buddy relationship do you think he had with him when he bans him from the place? Like,
So let
attempted coup. Despite all of that, a majority of American voters actively chose him over her. Women all over this country.
That's got to sting.
Feels like to be the far more qualified woman who.
But she's not qualified. This is the thing, right? She literally has lost. She's negative $20 million in debt when it comes to her campaign. How do you be like, you spent $1 billion plus 20 million, you're 20 million in the hole. What qualifications does she have? Imagine running the country. She can't even balance her own books.
Loses the job to mediocre or underqualified men.
Yes, it was the voters who got it wrong.
Yeah.
How quick these journalists go from defending democracy to dismissing it altogether.
Yep.
And spare a thought for our comrades at The Guardian, who are being given therapy sessions in the wake of a democratic election not going their way.
Imagine working at a place where you need therapy sessions. Jesus Christ. Guys, pull up your skirt and grab your balls.
Guardian's editor sent everyone in the company an email which basically exposes their operation as a political one. She writes, if you're not in the US, do contact your American colleagues to offer your support. It's upsetting for many others too. If you want to talk about it, your manager and members of the leadership team are available as the people team. There is also free access to free support services. Imagine being so invested in an outcome of an election that you have a mental breakdown and need therapy.
Yeah.
The temper tantrum continued with The Guardian abandoning X, saying it was now filled with far-right conspiracy theories and racism. Hilariously, though, the company is still blacklisting X, even though many of its reporters continue to live on the platform by their own logic, helping to monetize far-right racism. And there might be another reason many of these media companies are so angry. Money. There are reports that CNN viewers simply turned off the election coverage when it wasn't going their way. No viewers means no ad revenue, which means no jobs.
Sad and frustrated. Those are the words of one CNN staffer amid the bombshell report that the network is cutting hundreds of jobs and will axe top stars.
Executives are set to unleash a fury of layoffs following CNN's abysmal election day ratings. The network clocked in at just 5.1 million viewers, lagging behind competitors like MSNBC and Fox News. The presidential election has shined a spotlight on the decline of mainstream media, especially cable news.
Well, joining me on the panel this week is Sky News contributor James Bolt and wordsmith and broadcaster Kel Richards. Kel, let's start with you. Thanks for joining us on the desk, both people on the desk today. Quite an incredible meltdown that we're starting to see. Was it what you expected?
Oh, I think so, because they were clearly so emotionally invested in this. I mean, if you listen to what one of the commentators said, that woman was saying there, she said the more capable person was defeated by the less capable man. This is the delusion that Kamala Harris was competent. I mean, Kamala Harris was...
She wasn't. Like I said, she ran her campaign into the ground. How are you claiming that she's capable when she can't even manage her own books?
The most unpopular vice president in American history.
By the way, this is also the same person that didn't win any of the votes when they were doing the primaries for, like, you know, presumptive nominee for the Democrat Party.
She ran an abominable campaign. She was forced on them. They didn't particularly want her. So the idea that suddenly we could take the most unpopular vice president, because we have no other choice, we suddenly have to get rid of Joe and put someone else in, and they can win, is just a delusion. But they actually believe their delusion. I mean, you can understand people running campaigns. You can understand the Democrats saying she's wonderful and you've got to elect her. But for journalists sitting on the sidelines to say this unpopular vice president who's got no real background history and can't finish an idea and can't complete a sentence, she can be elected. I mean, what kind of delusional world are they living in? I mean, you feel a little bit sorry for them. You feel like, knocking and saying, come on, wake up, it's okay, the world hasn't ended.
And I guess what we're seeing is it's this obsession still with identity politics. And to carry on from Kel's point, they cannot see a world in which this election wasn't about, well, is it a woman? Is it a person of colour? Are you hitting these particular data points? When Americans, are they voting that way? And is that part of this backlash to this legacy media when there are people who are struggling economically and a news anchor cannot bring herself to even mention that maybe people thought this person has a better economic plan?
Yeah, so first off, I don't feel sorry for them. When you say you don't feel sorry for them. I think Ezra Klein made a really good point today when he said, if you are one of the left bubble media people and you genuinely think the economy is fantastic and the crime is just through the creation of Fox News, you need to go out and talk to genuine people, because even in affluent suburbs, so says Ezra Klein, they are talking about how bad, how much things are rising in price and how bad the immigration system is. But if you live like Joy Reid and you only see the world through the other people that you talk to at your workplace, you are going to think, hey, the Democrats, everything's great, Biden's the best, but now he's not the best, but Kamala's even better.
Yeah, they're in their own bubble. This is the thing, that they're in their own bubble and they haven't woken up yet. They think everything is hunky-dory. It's like, no, you have to talk to people. People are paying $6 or $7 for cheese. People are paying $16 or $12 or whatever it is for a can of deodorant. It's like, no, this sucks. This is bad.
You're not going to see the world through the way that genuine people actually see it, and then you get caught surprised again by Donald Trump.
James, I want to talk Twitter and The Guardian.
Thank you.
Before we move on, is this a stunt? And what do you make of the fact that they're saying, well, this is an evil, toxic place. It's filled with far-right extremists, but all their reporters are on there, monetizing it.
The Guardian leaving X makes Elon Musk's purchase of the website all worth it. I mean, all the stock price issues, the bots, the algorithm hiccups, it all comes down to this, and it's fantastic. But and also, just with the editor saying that, I'm offering counselling sessions for people that are really upset, I just wonder if Trump-supporting Guardian staff were given the same leeway in 2020. I wonder if they were told, hey...
Oh, hell no! But let's face it, the Trump supporters would not have turned up and asked for the counselling sessions in the first place, right? So...
Got to be nice to them. But here's the thing that I don't get about this Guardian stunt, is that news organisations tend to do better when the preferred party of their fans and supporters are in opposition rather than in charge, because there is more things to talk about. I got this stat from the Evening Standard. So speaking of the Guardian itself in the UK, when Margaret Thatcher got into power in 1979, their readership was 379,000 people. When she quit in 1990, it had gone up to 434,000 people. So even the Guardian know, hang on, this Trump presidency could be good for our viewership figures, and yet they are so disgusted by Elon Musk and so angry at negative comments on X, they're shooting themselves in the foot by getting away from it.
Well, Jack, can I make one more point about X? These left-wingers are choosing to leave X. If they want to stay, they're allowed to stay. That doesn't happen to right-wingers. Right-wingers were silenced and were kicked off, weren't they? From Twitter. So in other words, if you're a right winger, you get kicked off. If you're a left winger, you leave because you choose to leave. So where is the freedom of choice there?
Yeah, and I think we're watching, to your point as well, James, I think we're watching a play, and they are...
All right, it's getting boring. Let's move on. So, Piers Morgan Uncensored. I still have issues with the guy, but I must admit, it's been interesting watching him bring on people like Notoriety and Critical Drinker.
I need to get out and vote, please. It ain't over till it's over.
I think Kamala Harris needs a catchphrase.
Kamala forever.
That's better.
Okay, how about I'm down with democracy? It's just clean.
Unite for America!
As if it matters what any of these like Hollywood actors think about politics. They are professional pretenders.
America rejected the political state and rejected Hollywood.
There's an important conversation we need to have about the toxicity amongst white dudes in this country.
The whiny liberal woman turned away so many would-be Democrat voters.
Let's listen to them talk about cringe.
Cultural commentator Gary Beekler from the Nodrotic channel.
Gary!
Critical Jordan, aka the Critical Drinker.
Drinker!
The movie Rogue Elements, a Ryan Drake story. It's YouTube on November.
By the way, it looks interesting. We'll check it out.
25th. And joining the boys, Uncensored's own Esther Krakow, plus Ernest Owens, author of The Case for Cancel Culture. Ernest, let me start with you.
Oh boy.
Isn't there a better case, given that a lot of celebrities have led the charge for cancel culture over the years. Is it not time to cancel a lot of them when it comes to politics and just tell them to keep their big, unwanted noses out of it? Because nobody seemed to listen to any of them at this election. In fact, they actively went and voted for the big bad guy.
I think it's funny how every election cycle people begin to backtrack and be hypocritical about where their stances are. Look, both candidates had celebrity endorsements. You know, Amber Rose, Kid Rock, they were pushing for Trump, some NFL players as well. So I don't really think to try to make this a celebrity focal point is necessarily what really happened here in the United States. I think what really happened here was that people had an issue with wealth in general. And the Republicans did a good job of hiding their wealth, right? They had a billionaire running for re-election, yet they were trying to act like only the Democrats and the Hollywood elite and the wealthy were on the side of the Harris campaign. I think that there was an issue that was racial. I think it was gender, but I also think class played a major role in it.
Oh, there wasn't, honestly, Ernest. I could take this claptrap before the election, but the idea that Kamala Harris lost because of her skin color or her gender or any of the rest of it is total bullshit. She lost because she was a terrible candidate who had no real policies, and her only playbook was to go right back to Hillary Clinton, who also lost, and say, here are my famous mates, and by the way, Trump's a Nazi and the new Hitler. That's all she had.
Another woman. You notice the pattern you just mentioned, that Trump loses to men. He loses to men, but he beats women. So, no pun intended.
I'm sorry, Ernest. You sound desperate. Let me bring in Nadrotic.
Sure. You can't even vote. You didn't even vote in this election. You couldn't even vote if you wanted
Ernest, you're talking nonsense.
So,
Let me
bring in Ernest. You want to interview
calm
a
down.
voter?
That's enough claptrap for this part of the segment. Hang on. Let me bring in Nadrotic. Nadrotic, the thing is, when the Democrats are trying to explain why they lost literally everything to Trump in this election, it kind of sounds very hollow, because the truth is it was pretty much everything. It was economy, it was immigration, it was wokeism, and I genuinely do think it was Kamala Harris just producing endless celebrities, multimillionaires, coming out of their mansions to tell people to vote for her. I just think it backfired. People don't want to hear it.
America absolutely rejected that entire apparatus, which is the woke mind virus and all the issues that have faced us over the past 4 years. And we had a very unique election. We had a choice between a president we've already lived under for 4 years and the previous administration. So that's very unique in my lifetime, probably never see it again. And the choice was clear. I did vote, by the way, for President Trump happily, because I'm tired of this crap. And you know, I'm not the kind of guy who says I told you so, but a lot of us in my sphere have been telling you this for years. They have been fighting against the grain, Piers. And it finally, the American public had enough.
Yeah. I mean, Esther, these are two celebrity messages post-election. John Cusack, who drank so much woke Kool-Aid, I'm surprised he can get out of his bedroom in the morning. He said the fact that the country would choose to destroy itself by voting in a convicted felon, rapist, and Nazi is a sign of deep nihilism, to put it mildly. I wouldn't like to see him putting it non-mildly, but it's that kind of hysteria, which is just so self-defeating for the Democrats, isn't it?
I think people rejected these Hollywood stars, which mainly because of what Hollywood is. Right, Hollywood as an industry has produced its fair share of predators and sexual deviants and addicts. I mean, the idea that people like J-Lo, whose super predator ex, now she runs away from mention of like her hair is on fire, is laughable, right? Why would anyone vote for someone's tax policy based on what Taylor Swift says? It's like asking a badger for medical advice. It doesn't make sense. And it wasn't just a rejection. It wasn't just a rejection of Hollywood and the industry and the debauchery and all the things that are wrong with them, that they should probably take a look in the mirror and sort themselves out. It was the fact that these people are uniquely narcissistic. How dare you think that because you can sing and dance and act and play pretend, you somehow get to tell us who to vote for based on the Ukraine war? They can't even find Ukraine on a map. It's ludicrous. So I'm happy that they've now been soundly rejected, and hopefully this is some time for some reflection, and to actually realize that they're not as important as they think they are.
Yeah, there are two things I just don't want to hear much from Hollywood again. One is political advice about how I should vote. And secondly, it's moral guidance. I mean, this is the town that let Harvey Weinstein do his stuff for God knows how long, and then they all pretended they knew nothing about any of it. It's like, do me a favour. And I think it's a pretty morally bankrupt place. Critical Drinker, I mean, Ariana Grande, another message the next day after the election, holding the hand of every person who is feeling the immeasurable heaviness of this outcome today. The reality is, I was in New York, and I was there in 2016, and I was there again this
I got something Ariana Grande can hold. It's not my hand.
time. The difference was unbelievable. And I would chart it back to when I went to the Madison Square Garden rally, just out of curiosity. And the Secret Service guy there, who was one of Trump's guys, said they were expecting thousands of protesters, as they would have had in 2016. 150 people turned up to watch Trump do a rally in the middle of Manhattan. And I remember saying to friends then, Trump's won this by a landslide. If even Manhattan's New York wokies can't get out of bed to come and shout at him when he's in the heart of their city, then I just think they've given up. And then you saw the reaction after the election. I was walking the streets of Manhattan, New York. There was nothing. There wasn't a single protest march. There was nothing. So they can all claim that they think he's the new Hitler. But I kind of think if the new Hitler had just been elected president of the United States, some of them might have joined a little march somewhere, but there weren't any anywhere. So where are we with all this, do you think, Critical Drinker?
Well, I think for a start, if he was going to destroy America and put people in prison camps and stuff, he probably would have done it in his first administration. He had 4 years to do all that stuff, and he never did any of it. So I don't know.
Look at spawning.
And second, I love the idea that someone like Ariana Grande is going to have a political opinion about this. Like, people are actually going to go to her and say, what is her take on this? I wonder. Who cares? You're a fucking singer. As if it matters what you think about politics. As if it matters what any of these like Hollywood actors think about politics. As Gary quite rightly called them once, they are professional pretenders. Their one and only skill is their ability to say lines written by someone else in a fairly convincing manner. That's it. I don't care what you guys think about the war in Ukraine or the economy or the current political climate in America. Who cares?
You know, I had talking of immeasurable heaviness and hands and so on. I actually met Ariana Grande randomly in a restaurant in Beverly Hills a few years ago, and I'd been criticizing her on Twitter, and her mum had joined in. And anyway, long story short, she came and joined me in this booth, and I felt the immeasurable heaviness of her hands around my neck, trying to throttle me in a friendly way. She pointed out the errors of my ways. Anyway, we resolved things over a couple of bottles of extremely expensive red wine that she bought. And she was there with all her team, her production team, and they were celebrating having 3 #1 hits off the bounce in the Billboard Hot 100. And I was so happy for her because she's a very talented singer. But I don't care that she wants me to vote for Kamala Harris. I want to know what Kamala Harris, if I'm an American, is going to do to improve my life.
This is the thing that these celebrities don't get, is no one cares about your opinion. And, you know, they can sit there and go like, oh my God, Amber Rose. Hey, guess what? I don't care what Amber Rose has to say either. To be honest, if you're taking political advice from a millionaire or a billionaire, you're batshit crazy.
And there was way too much of, look at my famous friends, they all like me. And by the way, he's the bad devil, and you.
And to be honest, like these whole celebrities, it screams narcissism. It really, really does.
Can't vote for him, and there was nothing on the what I'm going to do to make your country better bone. Let me come back to you, Ernest, because you're obviously in your defending the indefensible mode. Do you accept that one of the reasons, outside of the cost of living crisis, stroke inflation, which was clearly a big issue for people, and the chaos of the southern border, up to 10 million people coming in illegally was just ridiculous, whoever's president. Putting those two big issues aside, the third thing that really hit home with people was the wokeism issue. And I read a column from the New York Post saying, I really do think this is a tipping point. I think it's the moment woke began to die. I think just when you see so many Latinos and Black Americans voting for the guy that they've been told was a racist, so many Jews voting for the new Hitler, etc., etc., they're basically doing a big 2 fingers up to the whole thing and saying, we just don't believe any of it's crap anymore. You've out-woked yourselves. And by the way, if you want to keep telling me that biological men should be allowed to beat up women in boxing rings, in the Olympics, I'm never going to vote for you again. Ernest, your thoughts?
Are you going to actually let me have them?
Yes, if you have anything that could actually respond to that.
Sure. Yeah, actually. So for starters, I would just say that a lot of these issues and the narratives of them and the misinformation about a lot of those issues, people are going to have to just F around and find out, to be honest.
What's the misinformation? What misinformation?
A lot of, I would say that a lot of the promises, sure. Here's the thing. People's lives are going to be impacted regardless.
What misinformation, Ernest?
I'm going to get there. So the tariffs, right? About what he's going to do economically with tariffs. What is he going to do about immigration issues? His policies, the people he's going to put in his cabinet. Look, we can be here and we can
What's
go
the
for blows and
misinformation?
talk about who's better. Can I finish?
What's the misinformation?
Okay, tariffs.
He's not answering the question. He's been so vague because he knows he's wrong.
The economic plan that he has.
What about
There's some misinformation there. Project 2025, which he denied he was going to do. And now his people have said that was a part of the plan. So which one is it, right?
No, you see, Ernest, the trouble is, the disinformation, Ernest, is actually now coming from your mouth. That's the problem.
He literally said, so let me correct you again, Piers. He literally said that he was not affiliated with Project 2025. Now his biggest advisors are saying that was a part of the plan, including Steve Bannon.
They're trolling.
Okay.
They're trolling.
You are familiar with the concept of the joke, right?
We'll see.
Yes.
So we'll see. We'll see if they're trolling. We'll see. We'll find out. But people are going to be impacted whether or not he is or isn't. But for a presidential candidate and his advisors to still be trolling after an important election shows you how immature and unserious they are.
I find it incredible
Dude,
that the party that decided to call.
Yeah, hang on one sec, Critical Trigger. Let Esther finish, then I'll bring you back in.
I find it incredible that the party that decided to call tens of millions of Hispanics Latinx didn't see a beat down on the horizon. What Hispanic person do you know that you can go up and say, "Oh, you're Latinx"? That wouldn't punch you across the face. I mean, it's ludicrous.
Yes, ridiculous.
That's like calling me Africanix.
Why don't you ask the Latinos? Do you want to be called Latinx? No, none of them did.
It's weird.
And just by the way, none of them seemed remotely offended by the comedians joke about Puerto Rico. None of them. Didn't make any difference. No sign that any Puerto Ricans gave a damn. They saw that this guy's a roaster who roasted everybody, including his own mother, in the same speech, and just thought, you know what, he's quite funny. That's what roasters do.
Listen, we'll find out.
Meanwhile, Ernest is throwing his toys out of the stroller for 5 days about it, thinking the whole election just swung because the comedian offended Puerto Rico. It's like, they didn't, buddy. They had a sense of humor.
The fact that advisors are trolling and we are getting comedy back and more Puerto Ricans voted in this election than ever, that Tony Hinchcliffe, by the way, from Kill Tony pointed out, he's an international treasure. Is the world healing? And we can laugh at ourselves again.
No, the point is, Ernest, Puerto Ricans didn't think it impacted them. They saw it as a joke. And he didn't mean it to be offensive. He was just rinsing everybody. Let me ask you, Ernest, at some point, you deluded Democrats are going to have to face the music in your mirrors and realize that every single thing you stood for in this election got destroyed by the opposition. They vote the American people, black, white, Jewish, Muslim, everybody gravitated to the bad guy. Because they're sick of this crap. Let me bring in
if Project 2025 happens, all of you if Project 2025 happens,
it's not going to happen.
What if it doesn't? Are you going to apologize?
Then we
let's
get the
have a deal. If Project 2025 doesn't happen, will you apologize?
I hope that we have a smart Congress that blocks this nonsense. I hope that there will be checks and balances in place that it does not happen.
All right, let me bring the Drotic back in. Let me bring the Drotic back in. All right, the Drotic, on a wider point about culture, celebrity power and everything else, what do you think happens going forward now? Because we've been, saying how ridiculous these big stars were, but there's got to be a moment of reckoning for them too, where it almost becomes brand damaging now to get involved in this stuff. You look ridiculous. I mean, George Clooney, the way he behaved all summer looked ridiculous.
Let's not forget that the adult pretender still has a lot of sway with the political ruling class. It was George Clooney who penned the letter that got the big guy to step down.
Yeah.
And the article you referred to from Variety that I'm doing a video on right now, sorry to plug, but that they are trying to deny the fact that they said, basically adult pretenders and celebrities don't really move the needle, but it doesn't have an adverse effect, and that's what you said earlier is complete bullshit.
Yeah.
The celebrity endorsement is dead. We'll still get it all day long. We'll get it, but what they're going to have to deal with is the overall brand damage to their industry that they've had over the last decade, and this is just the culmination. The election is exactly the same thing. America rejected the political state and rejected Hollywood and everything Hollywood was about.
And you know the other thing, women didn't buy in to this narrative from the Democrats that on the one hand, critical drinker, we're the party for women's rights. So you've got to vote for us because of, say, abortion, okay, and abortion rights. Okay, it's a big issue, but America's pretty split on that. But at the same time, the same party that's all for women's rights, and he's the bad guy who doesn't want women to have any rights, they also were supporting things like transgender athletes being allowed to compete in women's sport, right? And that was just for most women, just like, what? Why would you do that? That's obviously damaging to women's rights. And there was that double standard and hypocrisy that I think drove a lot of women to go and vote for Trump, who just said quite simply, sorry, but if you're born biological male, you will not be competing against women in my administration. Well, good. Sorry, and it doesn't want kids being mutilated before they've gone through puberty. Good. This is all stuff that, as a liberal guy, which I am, I'm completely in favor of. So if I am, so I can tell you, are the majority of Americans. Guarantee it. Critical drinker.
I think, I think at a certain point, common sense takes priority over partisan politics, and I think this election is probably a good example of that, where the average person just sees things that don't make any sense to them anymore and say, no, I'm not doing this. I'm not voting for this. This is nonsense. I have to go for the other guy, even if I don't like him. And perhaps that's what happened in this case.
Yeah, I agree. I think. Hang on, I want to bring in just as part of our debate here, a notorious part of the star-studded Kamala campaign was the White Dudes for Harris movement, which looked and sounded like this.
I'm white, I'm the dude, and I'm for Harris.
The Biden-Harris administration was the most successful legislative administration.
The idea that men can gather to talk about how we feel, interesting, powerful concept.
Which is why right now I am begging all of you to smash that donate button, because we owe it to the next generation of girls to not go through that hellscape.
There's one thing about all this that makes me really, really curious. They're not exactly masculine guys, are they? Like, you look at them. They're all mostly overweight or beta cuckish. Like, what is the gym bro? If you want to convince someone to go to your movement, you might have to, I don't know, go to a gym. Put some gym bros on there. Have someone like Andrew Tate. Far be it for me to tell a left how to win an argument, but still.
Well, joining me now is the founder of that movement, the archetypal white dude for Harris, and a senior advisor of the Harris campaign, Mike Nellis. Well, Mike, thank you for coming on to Face the Music. I can't imagine.
Like, look at him. He's fat. I don't want to fat shame it. Oh, fuck it, I will. But he's fat. What exactly with this guy is like making you want to sit there and think, you know what? I want to vote for this guy. I want to vote for the same group that he's voting for. This is my man. This is my party. He looks like he's had a few men in his time.
It's been a comfortable week for you, because it turned out the white dudes all went and voted for the bad guy, Donald Trump.
Well, I wouldn't frame it like that, Piers, but obviously it was a tough week for Democrats. I mean, there is evidence in the exit polls that white men, both college-educated and uncollege educated, voted for Kamala Harris more than they did for Joe Biden and Hillary Clinton in the previous two presidential elections. But I think there's an important conversation we need to have about the toxicity that exists in amongst white dudes in this country. I think we need to have a conversation about identity politics. I think we need to have a conversation about how we're going to move this country forward and get past the divisiveness. And what we did a few months ago was start a conversation inside the Democratic Party about how we're engaging with white men, how we're engaging with rural voters and other communities that Democrats don't do a very good job talking with.
Yeah, but you know what it reminded me of? It reminded me of when Gillette did that ridiculous new ad campaign several years ago, when they went away from sort of the chest-beating alpha male clutching a baby to sell their products and so on, manly, masculine ad, to basically starting with a roll call video of horrible Me Too stories and demanding that men prove they're better than this. In other words, we think you're all horrible men, but if you buy Gillette, you know, we might help you become better people. And $9 billion off the bottom line later, Gillette did a screeching reverse and went back to the chest-beating alpha male stuff. And as a Gillette...
Like I said, it's like a bunch of beta cucks and soy boys just really don't sell products. It doesn't really aspire men. This is the thing they don't get. Men want someone to aspire to. The reason why Andrew Tate is popular is because, guess what? He's a world famous kickboxer who has got ripped abs, can do 130 push-ups, drives a Bugatti, and gets the bitches. It's not hard to work out, people. Guess what? You want to be like that? Who doesn't? Who does not want to have a Bugatti and go with a different supermodel every week?
Consumer for many years myself. Hallelujah. Because I don't want to be lectured by a shaving company about what a bad guy I am unless I can prove otherwise. I just want them to sell me razor blades and I want to feel good about being a man when they do it. And my problem with your campaign was you had all these guys, I mean, I have to be honest, took a while to recognize some of them. But when I did recognize, there's like a bunch of slightly old white guys trying to virtue signal their way into saying we're all here for better people, better men. You know, there's all this toxicity. It just didn't wash. You know, young men were like, why are you treating me like this? That's honestly my view of it.
Well, Piers, I can tell that you actually didn't watch the call because it doesn't seem like you have a real sense of the conversation that we were trying to have.
No, actually, it's exactly the conversation I thought you were trying to have. Let's rewind it again.
Honestly, my view of it. Slightly about what a bad guy, alpha male stuff, that are demanding sort of the chest-beating alpha male clutching a baby to sell their products and so on, manly, masculine ad, to basically starting with a roll call video of horrible Me Too stories and demanding that men prove they're better than this. In other words, we think you're all horrible men, but if you buy Gillette, you know, we might help you become better people. And $9 billion off the bottom line later, Gillette did a screeching reverse and went back to the chest-beating alpha male stuff. And as a Gillette consumer for many years myself, hallelujah. Because I don't want to be lectured by a shaving company about what a bad guy I am unless I can prove otherwise. I just want them to sell me razor blades and I want to feel good about being a man when they do it. And my problem with your campaign was you had all these guys, I mean, I have to be honest, took a while to recognize some of them. But when I did recognize, there's like a bunch of slightly old white guys trying to virtue signal their way into saying we're all here for better people, better men. You know, there's all this toxicity. It just didn't wash. You know, young men were like, why are you treating me like this? That's honestly my view of it.
Well, Piers, I can tell that you actually didn't watch the call because it doesn't seem like you have a real sense of the conversation that we were trying to have. What we were trying to talk about
it sounds like nobody else understood it either.
Well, hang on. Hold on. I let you talk, Piers. Let me get into it for you because I'll give you a sense of what it was like because I don't think you watched it. But at the end of the day, we were trying to have a conversation about what it's like to be a man in America. And I think what I get frustrated with, you talk about manliness, you talk about the Gillette campaign. I don't know anything about that. I'm a Dollar Shave Club guy myself, frankly, if I shave at all, as you can tell. But here's the bottom line. I think from the right, you have a lot of people like Donald Trump, you have a lot of people like J.D. Vance and Andrew Tate and a whole bunch of others who want to define what it means to be a man. They want to tell everybody that if they're not the type of manliness that they like, type of manliness that you see on the right, that you're not a real man. And I'm sick of that crap. Here's the truth. The conversation that we had is that there are some really serious conversations we need to have amongst white men in this country. For example, white men in America are 4 times more likely to commit suicide than any other group of people in the United States. I didn't hear either party talk about that. What we wanted to do is have a conversation about what's going on in our community, what's going on with the toxicity of that, how we build better.
How does voting for Kamala help any of this?
Mental health, how we take care of each other. We weren't coming in to lecture. I actually think one of the mistakes that Democrats...
You're literally running a political ad for a party And your argument is, we're trying to have a conversation about men having feelings. No, you weren't. You were trying to get someone to vote for your political party. And by the way, I'm guessing he's a Democrat.
That's often make is we come in and we lecture and you hear these things from, oh, all men are bad or all white men are bad or like blah, blah, blah. Let me tell you how great we are. There was none of that on our call. What there was a group of men, both people who were celebrities and a lot of people who weren't, coming in and talking about their experience of struggling with mental health, struggling with raising a family, struggling with their politics, struggling with building community and isolation and drug abuse and things like that. That clip you played of Sean Astin, and if you don't know Sean Astin, he's Rudy from the movie Rudy. I highly recommend you check it out. Or Samwise Gamgee in Lord of the Rings, if you don't know who he is. But he was talking about his brother who had struggled in his life with addiction. And one of the ways that he was able to get through the addiction that he struggled through his life was because he had this men's group that he went to, you know, something like every Tuesday. He'd go once a week and they would talk. It wasn't quite AA, but it was something where they would come together and he would have a little bit of community. Men in America are struggling with isolation and community right now, and it was nice to hear a diversity of opinion from white men on the different experiences and struggles that they're having.
I don't dispute that, but the problem is what they were getting from Trump. From the moment he got shot and stood back up and went fight, 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 to when he got in the McDonald's and served the fries and he got in the garbage truck, all this stuff. They just got a message that he's just a regular guy like them and he was going to sort their pay packets out, sort the southern border out and get rid of all the woke crap. And it was a message that resonated spectacularly well. And it made a lot of young men, because I talked to them, made a lot of young men feel good, great. I feel more confident now. This is great. It's an uplifting message. With all due respect, your message wasn't really uplifting anything. It just made people feel, oh God, there's so many bad things I've got to worry about in the world. And, you know, it's just, to me, it's like chicken and the egg. It's going about it the wrong way. You should just tell people things are going to be great. And here's how we're going to make them great. And then guess what? If they turn out to be great, people feel great.
I do think there's a broader cultural issue that the Democratic Party needs to deal with. I think we often make people feel bad. I think it seems like we're lecturing people. I think we're...
You do! Do I have to start playing all the videos of the people having a fucking meltdown on Twitter at the moment? Or TikTok?
Not giving people the space to feel like they can be themselves. And I think the right has done a pretty smart job capturing on that and then trying to make it seem like we're your dad yelling at you because you're wearing a backwards baseball cap at the dinner.
You do yell at people. Do I have to play the videos of the TikTok? Like, have you seen them?
Table. And we need to do a better job of connecting with people. We need to do a better job of figuring out how we articulate our values. But one thing I'm going to push back on this entire conversation, I was listening to the panel that you had, is the idea that this election was decided on the culture, I think is wrong. And the idea that it was decided on things like, you know, transgender kids playing sports,
no, it's part
I think
of
is
it.
wrong. This election was decided on the economy. Hold on.
Well, you're wrong. You're actually wrong.
I think this election was decided on the economy. Well, okay, well, that's your opinion. You're allowed to
I've
have
already
it.
said, it was decided on three things. Cost of living, stroke inflation, immigration crisis on the border, and wokeism. They're the three things that decided this election. And if you don't think the transgender thing resonated with people, the New York Times said that single ad the Republicans kept putting out of Kamala's for they, them, Trump is for you, may have swung it by 2.5 percentage points, right? One ad. The most effective 30-second ad, they called it.
Well, let me talk about that ad, though. Hold on. Let me talk about that ad, though, because I actually think it was a really smart political ad by the Trump campaign. But at the end of the day, I want to make the point that I think people were really mad at Democrats about the economy, and I think it's a mistake if Republicans are going to try to argue that it was anything other than that, because people are really frustrated
then
when
they go to the grocery store. Then I think you're living in cloud cuckoo land.
I would say that the economy definitely helped, and I think it was probably a major factor. Sure, I'll give him that. But at the end of the day, I think it's Piers says, it's a factor. It was death by 1,000 cuts or 1,000 bad policies.
Let me finish though. The ad that they put together on the transgender stuff was really smart.
I think you're completely and utterly deluded if you don't think these other issues resonate with people.
You're not letting me finish my point, Piers. So if you want to give me a minute to finish it so you can actually hear it, that would be great. Because what the Trump campaign did in that ad was really smart. At the end of that ad, there's a tagline that says, Kamala Harris is for they, them. Donald Trump is for us.
Yeah.
That's a really smart political ad. As much as I'm frustrated with the conversation about transgender rights, What they did a good job of in their advertising campaign is making people feel like Donald Trump was going to fight for them, that Donald Trump was going to help them, and then for the most part tying everything back to the economy. If you look at even the border, because they did a lot of tying the border back to like housing, they did a lot of talking about like the economy and grocery prices, even the transgender stuff. Everything was about framing Kamala Harris as for other people, and I think to the point that you were making about celebrities earlier, we played into that a little bit by ending our campaign with so many celebrities that were then seen as lecturing. So that's the broader cultural issue. But I don't think it's that people were sitting at home being like, you know, oh, Kamala Harris wants to let transgender kids play track. Like, she wasn't advocating for that in the campaign. It wasn't an actual platform of that. I don't want to get into that issue necessarily, but what the Trump campaign did was other Kamala Harris.
Well, back with the panel in just a moment. But first, we're continuing with the Democrat meltdown, Exhibit A, this report from Inside Edition, on how women are fighting back.
In the wake of Donald Trump's historic win, there's a new movement sweeping America. Disappointed women are actually swearing off men.
There's no way I am letting any man near me.
Jesus Christ, darling, don't worry. No one wants to go near you. We're more worried you're going to think we're a bag of Doritos and eat us.
For the next few years.
They're saying no to dating, no to marriage, no to sex.
Celibacy, at least to me, isn't that hard.
And no to having children.
These women, okay, sure, you're going to buy your own food, buy your own meals, pay your own bills. Good luck.
Like so many other women in America who have been considering trying to get pregnant, I woke up today and said, nope.
So you're trying, or consider it trying to get pregnant. You must have given it a lot of thought.
Not anymore.
This woman is actually shaving her head in protest. It's being called the 4B movement, and women are taking to social media declaring their allegiance.
Well, to tell us if women all across America are going on relationship strike is the host of Tommy Lahren is Fearless on Outkick, Tommy Lahren. Tommy, lovely to have you back on Uncensored. You've been incredibly busy for obvious reasons in recent weeks, so welcome back. These women are just all completely nuts, aren't they?
Yeah, they are. And I would also say this. A lot of these women that are going on social media making this public announcement that they're no longer going to date men, or they're not going to sleep with men, they're not going to have kids. They're doing it for the validation. They might say that they don't want attention from men. Well, they want attention, which is why they're making these announcements. I would also say for a lot of these women, I don't think that the demand for them is as high as they think it is in their own narcissistic mind. Like, a lot of these women, they would act like men are beating down their door to sleep with them. For a lot
Shots fired!
A lot of these women, it's probably not the case. And it's not just because of the way they look, it's because of the way that they act and the way that they sound. If you're wondering why Democrats lost with men and why the Republican Party has been able to make such gains with men, including black men and Hispanic men, it's because a lot of the liberals and a lot of the Democrats campaigning not only actively turned away men, but they've got female surrogates out there saying these kind of things. Well, we don't like men. If you think differently than us, then we're not going to date you. You can't sit with us. The whiny liberal woman turned away so many would-be Democrat voters. And for the sake of my party, I hope Democrats keep doing it. Keep shaving your head, keep wearing masks, kind of things. Well, we don't like men. If you think differently than us, then we're not going to date you. You can't sit with us. The whiny liberal woman turned away so many would-be Democrat voters. And for the sake of my party, I hope Democrats keep doing it. Keep shaving your head, keep wearing masks, keep getting the septum piercing, the mark of the beast. Keep doing it because we love to watch it. It's entertainment.
We've also had Nadrotic, the Guardian newspaper in the UK, which also publishes in America, has been on a weird little journey since the result. First of all, the editor of the Guardian, Kath Viner, did a message to staff. A Trump win could reverberate for 1 million years, it began. The result has been very upsetting for many colleagues, and she urged the UK staff to contact your American colleagues to offer your support because they will be most directly affected by the result. She then offered them personal counseling. If you want to talk about it, your manager and members of the leadership team are all available, as is the people team. And there were virtual well-being tools also made available to the poor Guardian journalists. I mean, Nadrotic, these people, what is wrong with them?
I think they see the end coming. The legacy media, like, it's dead. it's dying. And we have, as Elon has been posting on his own platform, we are the media now. Anybody can fire up a camera in their spare bedroom as a hobby and start talking about things. And that's the way we're going to get information in the future. It's going to be a little more difficult, but I would rather have that than have it spoon-fed me from some corporate legacy media source. And I'm had a great week. This has been fantastic watching everybody melt down.
You don't need counseling.
Best week. I've had a song in my heart. I don't need counseling, but I'll offer some. You can come over to this side anytime you want.
Well, here's my offer of counseling for the ridiculous way they're all behaving. It's just grow a pair, which that sentence itself will send them raging away. But I don't care anymore. I don't care about offending little wokies anymore. It's over, right? We can say what we bloody well like now. Right, I'm just done with it. Let me bring in Critical Drinker. The other thing The Guardian did, I mean, they weren't content with the counselling thing. They've now come off X. And in a new letter, they told its readers, want to let you know that we no longer will post on any official Guardian editorial accounts on X. We think the benefits of X now being outweighed by the negatives, blah, 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 blah. And they cite the fact that Elon Musk is the owner. He's had a bad influence on making it more toxic and blah, 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 blah. What they really mean is that they lost badly. Their arguments were defeated badly. And a lot of them, like The Guardian, who have been pontificating their visceral hatred of Trump now for years, have probably been on the receiving end of a lot of people mocking them. And they just can't take it. That's the other thing about the woke brigade. They are incredibly oversensitive and offended by everything. But if you stick it back at them, this is what they do. They run away.
Well, yeah, I mean, when it comes to The Guardian leaving X, to quote Jeremy Clarkson, oh no. Anyway, that's the way it is. No one cares.
Yeah.
They are so used to X, or Twitter as it was for them back in the day, being their nice little echo chamber where everyone just agrees with them about everything, and when there's any dissenting voices, they get mysteriously banned or shadow banned or deboosted so that they never get any traction. And so when you actually have to compete in the marketplace of ideas and nobody's interested in your bullshit arguments, well, that's what happens. And they can't take it. They couldn't take the heat, so they're getting out of the kitchen.
And Tommy, Don Lemon has joined the bandwagon. He's now sensationally quit X. Of course, he's the guy that thought he had a deal with Elon Musk. And then after one interview, which was with Elon Musk cancelled the contract. And I know Don from CNN days. I get on well with Don. I saw him in New York in a restaurant, actually. Been a perfectly nice chat. But he's I don't know why he's done it. He's made some big video announcement to the world about quitting X. Let's take a look.
I have loved connecting with all of you on Twitter and then on X for all of these years. But it's time for me to leave the platform. I once believed that it was a place for honest debate and discussion, transparency and free speech.
This just screams virtual signal, doesn't it? Is anyone else getting that?
But I now feel it does not serve that purpose.
Tommy, how distraught are you on a scale of 1 to 1,000 that Don Lemon will no longer be talking to you on X?
Well, listen, I've never seen anyone thirstier than Don Lemon. He has been doing this the entire election cycle, trying to go interview people on the street with his man on the street interviews. He is so thirsty. He's a camel in the desert. He wants attention. I think he'll come back to X. But once again, just like all these 4B
I think they're all going to come back to X. I really give it a month at most.
movement liberal weirdo women, he has to announce it with a video posted on the social media platforms because he wants attention and he wants validation. But we're also seeing historic layoffs at CNN. People are just sick of it. They're sick of these people, these cultural elitists like Don Lemon, like many others. They're sick of watching them. They're sick of listening to them cry. They also feel lied to because all these people told him how great Joe Biden was, that he was so cognitively proficient. Then they told him Kamala Harris was an excellent candidate. And look what happened to both of them. So a lot of people that used to watch these networks, used to listen to people like Don Lemon, they feel lied to and they don't want to watch it anymore. So Don Lemon, go enjoy, get on whatever platform, maybe OnlyFans, maybe Dancing with the Stars. Who cares at this point? We're sick of seeing you. Just look in the mirror if you want to talk to yourself so badly.
Well, I have a personal announcement, which is I will be staying on X permanently. Because I love it. I love the mayhem. And I don't think it's got more toxic under Elon. I think what he's done is he's lifted the lid off everything so that it's no longer skewed one way. So you're not getting, as you were in the last election, just a constant stream of stuff that is anti-Republican and pro-Democrat. And if there's a story damaging against the Democrats, like the Hunter Biden laptop story, they simply removed it and wouldn't let anyone see it. I mean, that's the kind of censorship that was going on. And if the price for total free speech is that you get the odd person being a dickhead on X, well, trust me, they've always been there. It's just a lot of the dickheads I get are the ones on the left, who are just as vile, by the way, as the ones on the right. I want to play, Esther, you a clip from Dr. Amanda Calhoun, a Yale-affiliated psychiatrist, who was on MSNBC and was asked if family members have voted Trump, should you shun them for Thanksgiving and Christmas? Let's take a look.
When you know someone voted that way, do you recommend, just from a psychological standpoint, being around them? We got the holidays coming up.
I think the answer is absolutely not. So if you...
Imagine trying to split families up because of different voting policies. That's what cults do. You're in a cult. You're in a cult if you can't talk to your family members because they have a different political party than you.
Who are going into a situation where you have family members, where you have close friends who you know have voted in ways that are against you, like what you said, against your livelihood. And it's completely fine to not be around those people and to tell them why.
Apart from the fact Joy Reid is the biggest lunatic on cable news in America and was also exposed as a horrible homophobic bigot. So when she goes on these rants about Trump, just remember that. Apart from that, the fact that a psychiatrist, Esther, affiliated with Yale, one of the great universities of the world, literally says don't go to see your family if any of them voted for the guy who just won by a landslide, who literally won it all. I mean, what does that say about these people?
I mean, one thing I've noticed is that the left, and I really don't like that term, but I'm going to use that, and the Democrats, because they seem to encompass that, they seem to become sort of the haven of the mentally unwell. So, I mean, and this kind of feeds into the culture war, right? Even though people are saying, you know, there's no conversation, there's no room for like white men to talk about mental health issues and all of that. Just look at who's on whose team. On the right, quote unquote, you don't really have these sort of saggy, very effeminate, whingy, cryy men. They seem pretty masculine. They seem like people that can actually do stuff. They seem people that are useful, that can start families and build communities.
I wonder if he's like, shit, she's talking about me.
And on the left, you have these really mentally unwell, mentally unstable people. You have women shaving their heads and not shaving other parts of their body, unfortunately, having these cow bull things in their noses, you know, just completely being tatted up. They just look unhealthy. They don't look aspirational. And I think that's one thing that really cut through the noise. I mean, if you look at who you want to be, it's certainly not a lot of the people that you're seeing on the Democrat side, which they unfortunately got together and rallied all the troops and really had this sort of giant clown circus party that unfortunately America rejected soundly.
Let me bring in Mike. You're not looking very impressed by what you're hearing here.
Well, I just think it's a straw man argument, right? We've got to define people a certain way, and then we're going to take people on the extremes and try to drag them out.
You literally have a group called White Men for Kamala.
The entire left looks. So you've got to, you know,
listen,
I'm one of the founders of a group. I'm one of the founders of a group called White Dudes for Harris. I have no problem with that. And look, there are a lot of conversations that need to be happening. But when we're out there having a conversation about whether or not people should go home for Thanksgiving,
that was pretty good, I must admit. Holy shit.
I think people need to do a better job of talking to one another and engaging with people who think differently than them. Obviously, I want people to do what's best for their own mental health. But at the end of the day, there's an awful lot of drama on the left right now that you're seeing, and you've seen some of these clips here. But we're grabbing small amount of things and trying to define that it's the entirety of the left, and I don't think that it is, and I think that's a mistake. What we do need to do is do a better job of talking to one another, and what we do need to do a better job of is there's a real culture problem in the Democratic Party. There's a culture problem, and I agree with some of the more conservative commentators here where we've talked about how, you know, Twitter's become a much more fun place for conservatives. You can say whatever you want.
By the way, Nerdorotic is druggie, ex-prison convict, and has overcome all that and started a YouTube channel that has over 1 million subscribers. Like, this is a guy that should be, according to left, should be sitting there like at welcome arms. Like, this is one of their you know, prison reform stories, right? But even Nerdorotic is like, fuck this shit, I'm going to the Trump side.
I have no problem with that. I think ultimately at the end of the day, I want it to be a place where people can talk. I think to a certain degree, Elon has taken it a little bit too far to the right. For example, my personal home address was doxed on Twitter by a right-wing activist, and I reported it to Twitter, and they told me there was nothing wrong with posting my personal address. That's probably going a little bit too far. I think Democrats have a tendency to try to create their own little safe spaces. There's a lot of people who are moving over to Blue Sky right now instead of Twitter. I have accounts on both. I'm going to be staying on both. I'm going to be going home for Thanksgiving because I have 2 Republican parents.
Did she say what the hell's Blue Sky?
To try to create their own little safe spaces. There's a lot of people who are moving over to Blue Sky right now instead of Twitter. I have accounts on both. I'm going to be staying on both.
Yeah, what the hell is that? Pretty good point.
I'm going to be going home for Thanksgiving because I have 2 Republican parents.
Okay.
I want to talk to them. I want to engage with them.
Okay. Let me ask you, Ernest. I mean, you were looking enraged through some of what you were hearing, but why really? I mean, is anything that anyone's saying actually wrong? I mean, isn't the key message from this election that you guys just blew it?
I'm not enraged more than I'm bored. You all are, I mean, you're the cat with the cream and y'all licking yourselves for the rest of this show. So great. Dunk on libs like that's going to be what's wonderful. You all going to have the House, the Supreme Court, the public. You got it. Okay.
Ernest, if you'd won a landslide, you would be like 50 cats with 50 pots of
This
cream.
wasn't a landslide. I'm so tired of hearing that. My God.
So you're not even letting me talk.
Yeah, it was.
It wasn't a landslide. Sorry, wait a minute.
Yeah, it's not a landslide.
Let me just check the check. Hang on.
It was a landslide. You lost every battleground state. He's got 312. You got 222 or 26.
Let me just go over the checklist. Last time I checked, Trump won the White House.
Yeah.
He won the Senate.
Yes.
He won the House of Representatives. Yeah. He won the Electoral College, and he won the popular vote. I'm not sure what your definition of a landslide is.
Hang on.
That looks pretty landslidey to me.
Let me ask you a question. Did Joe Biden win in a landslide 4 years ago? Did Barack Obama win in a landslide in 2008?
I certainly believe he won the election. He didn't have the clean sweep that Trump did.
Any president ever. The most
Donald Trump won the election. I'm not taking anything away from him, but like it was a close win. 225,000 votes and 3 swing states go differently, and Kamala Harris is the president. That's not that many people, and I think acting like it's some big mandate or some big electoral landslide when in the last 20 years we've seen bigger wins on both sides doesn't make any sense to me.
If this was on the other side, you would be. This is a mandate against Trumpism.
Maybe, but I mean it's not.
You're going to be saying it's the end of Trump.
Come on.
The white dudes came out for Harris, but the trouble is, Mike, the white dudes came out for Trump.
Of course they did.
Yeah, because
what did you know?
Oh, they're coping right now.
And Ernest, what did you
abandoning the working class?
What are we doing here? This is just a lot of yelling.
You get your guy in. Your guy
Welcome
is
to
in.
America, dude.
Good luck for 4 years trying to
kidding.
get some real stuff done. Get it done. Shut up. Who cares, right?
Okay.
About the liberals in Hollywood. You're so obsessed about people who clearly don't make a difference. So why waste your breath?
You know what, Ernest?
You know what, Ernest? People that you don't care about.
The trouble, Ernest, is that it may not just be 4
Get
years.
over it
Now,
and get shit done.
Ernest, it may
Get it
be.
done.
It may be if Democrats remain as this deluded and this putting their fingers in their ears and pretending you didn't get beaten for the reasons you got beaten. You could be out of the White House for another 12 years.
Hang on.
Let me
give you some credit here because I think you're right.
I honestly think that if the Democrats don't have a radical rethink,
4 years denying an election for 4 years and then not get over that defeat.
If the Democrats, Ernest,
shut up.
Ernest, I won't shut up. It's my show for one. Right. You are an invited guest. And secondly, Ernest, a little bit of advice from your British mate. Ernest, a little bit of advice from your British mate. If you guys don't dramatically change your radical positions on stuff, you will not be back in the White House for 12 years. Tommy, let me come to you. Tommy?
Yeah, I'm just politely raising my hand. Ernest, I believe that's your name. I'm going to tell you why we're doing this. It's to help you out, first and foremost. We want the Democrat Party to be sane again. We would love that just for the sake of this country, for the sake of the world. We'd like some sanity on your side. But also, selfishly, it's really fun for us, okay? You guys have spent the last 10 plus years calling us
I know she's honest about it, I suppose.
racists and Nazis and deplorables and garbage, and now you lost so badly. So yes, we're going to take a couple of victory laps because it's fun for us. This is going to be fun for the next 4 years. Get ready for it. We're going to enjoy it, okay?
And you're not going to get anything done outside of dunking, and you all will lose again because
we're
politics
going to get
will
stuff
be done.
done too.
You'll be
Both. Watch us.
There's going to be lots of backstabbing over there in the Trump camp. He's going to lose the appointees. I promise you that these people he's appointing right now will not make it in 2 years, most of them. There's going to be a lot of backbiting, arguing within Republicans, establishment ones, rhinos, and everybody else. You all will spend time obsessing over trans people and celebrities, and you're not going to get most of your agenda done because you're going to be too busy fighting and taking dunks at liberals rather than getting things done for the working class.
Ernest, I'm worried. Ernest, I'm genuinely worried, Ernest, about your blood pressure. Mike, very quickly, please.
Go ahead. I'm worried about yours.
Pierce, I actually think you said something that was right, which is that Democrats do need to take a hard look in the mirror and talk about the way we're engaging with people, talk about the way we're talking about the economy and putting our policies together, talk about the way we're handling things like the border. We have serious issues that we need to address. We have to change the way that we campaign. We have to change the way that we talk to people. We have to change the way that we organize. And there's a lot of work that has to be done. So I think we need to sort of stare into the abyss. And I appreciate that all the conservatives on this call are having a good time. Enjoy the win. It feels good to win. I personally am going to get back to work and try to figure out what we need to fix in the Democratic Party, along with a lot of other people. And we'll see you guys in the ballot probably in a couple of months for some of these special elections. So
you know what? You know the guy I really want to meet is the guy who was running a secret Latino dudes for Trump. Because whoever that guy is had a fantastic election. Critical Drinker, very quickly, are we going to see a sea change in Hollywood as they come to terms with the scale of this loss and realize the error of their ways? Are we going to see, for example, a reboot again of Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs and actually let dwarf actors appear as dwarf characters? Could this happen?
I'm still holding out for my dwarf actors in this. Yeah, I think award season is going to be the benchmark for this kind of thing. It's too early to tell at the moment, but I will say they are not in the commanding position that they were in 8 years ago when you had the extreme backlash against this sort of thing. They have had year after year of flop, financial disasters, franchises absolutely destroyed. I think the general public has made it clear to them they are done with this shit. And they do not want to hear Hollywood's political opinions anymore. So if they have an ounce of common sense, and that is a big if, they will shut up about this stuff and just get back to making good movies.
God, hallelujah. Wouldn't that be great? And you know what? The first thing they should do is say, you know, we've seen the mood of this election, and the next James Bond is going to be a big, strapping bloke who's going to go back to seducing women left, right, and center. He's going to chain smoke. He's going to drink all sorts of great stuff, martinis, shaken, stirred, any way you like. He's going to kill every baddie that comes in his way, sometimes ruthlessly and heartlessly without a second thought. That's going to be the new James Bond, because that's the Bond we all loved. And Ernest, you're going to grow to love it, mate. Trust me. Thank you all to my panel. Great to see you all. Thank you.
It ended up being a bit of a shit show there towards the end, but still interesting. Look, at the end of the day, I agree the Democrats do need to sort of reflect on what they've been doing and take a hard look at themselves in the mirror and just sort of say, like, you know, like, why did we lose both so badly? But, you know, also between you and me, I kind of hope they don't. You know? We can have, you know, Trump for another 4 years, and then maybe Vance or Vivek Ramaswamy or maybe even JFK, who knows? But we'll just have to see what happens. Alright, by the way guys, if you have any videos that you want us to watch, feel free to post them in the chat. I'm going to be here for probably another hour and a bit. So for the guys that are watching, if you want anything responded to, feel free to. I know Tom Macdonald put out a new song. Let's check that out. I haven't seen that yet. So that's the new one. And then we got Goodbye Joe. So let's watch that.
America is going woke. The streets are full of fire and smoke. This ain't the way I thought it would be. The White House full of evil folks. Americans ain't free no more.
It's funny because like Nova is like, she's pretty liberal. She's pretty lefty. But even in this clip, she's rocking the American bandana. Like, you've even lost Nova Rockefeller, for fuck's sake. You know.
Americans ain't free no more. They don't respect folks like you and me. The way we're treated ain't been fair. Fake news on every TV. 4 years we've been in this nightmare while they killed American dreams. We can't afford our lives here. Ran food and gasolines. Colors don't run and I only warn you once. Buddy, don't tread on me. I won't forget the ones who died for our freedom, and I ain't gonna hand it back. No, no, no. If liberty and justice ain't enough to believe in, then get out of here and don't look back. Go, go, go. We love our home, and if you don't, pack your bags, you're free to go. Don't let the big door hit you where the good Lord split you. Wave goodbye to Joe. We love our land. If you ain't fans, buddy will help you pack your bags. Don't let the big door hit you where the good Lord split you. Burn someone else's flag.
America is losing hope, divided by
Oh, that was my mobile version.
this ain't the way that this all should be. We're fighting over memes and jokes, they're burning.
By the way, can we just say how gorgeous Nova is? Like, damn, she's a cutie. Yeah, well done, Tom. Put a ring on that finger or put a bun in that oven, bud.
Flags that we hold close, they think that war's only overseas. The way we're painted ain't been fair. So what, you don't know me? You got something to say, well I'm right here. Thank us for the freedom of speech. You like to claim I don't care, cause I ain't gonna bend no knees.
Colors don't run and I only warn you once. Buddy, don't tread on me. I won't forget the ones who died for our freedom, and I ain't gonna hand it back. No, no, no. If liberty and justice ain't enough to believe in, then get out of here and don't look back. Go, go, go. We love our home, and if you don't, pack your bags, you're free to go. Don't let the big door hit you where the good Lord split you. Wave goodbye to Joe. We love our land. If you ain't fans, buddy will help you pack your bags. Don't let the big door hit you where the good Lord split you. Burn someone else's flag. If you look close, you'll see America. She don't look quite like she did. This ain't the country that our parents love, but I still hear her on the wind. We love our home, and if you don't, pack your bags, you're free to go. Don't let the big door hit you where the good Lord split you. Wave goodbye to Joe. We love our
I love that.
land. If you ain't fans, buddy will help you pack your bags. Don't let the big door hit you where the good Lord split you. Burn someone else's flag.
Shot by Connor Spears. Yeah, I suppose she can't really film it when she's singing, so she's in singing, I suppose. I like it. I like the song actually. To be honest, it's yeah. I don't normally go for that sappy sort of stuff, but it's pretty cool actually. I believe Dax has a new album too. You got something new, Dax? Soldiers featuring Tom. Let's check it out.
I'm a soldier. I'm a soldier. I'm a soldier. I'm a soldier. I'm the one who wake up when the times get hard. Yeah. When my back's against the wall, breaking now or fall, I'm a soldier. I know how it feels to be caught in the rain. Going to war and you're
Game works.
pressure is staring you right in the face and anxiety's grabbing you, making you shake. But there's people depending on you to be great, so you hide all the feelings and push them away. It's too hard trying to mix it all with the pain. I'm drinking the cool off and it's all in my veins. I'm making these new songs to move on and restrain from grabbing the sword off and going to cock it and aim at these nuanced people who shame. The role that a man is to play as a husband, a father, a brother, a son to a servant, protecting his family's name. They laugh in your face when you try to explain or express. Then tell you they love you without any loyalty, patience, or basic respect. Then expect you to smile every day while I'm eating your mind and your soul, your flesh, and you work and you wither away to the day that you can't. And you're broken and nothing is left in your road and you can't even. I'm a soldier. When times get hard, I'm who they call. I'm a soldier. I'm the one who they call when my back's against the wall, breaking now or fall. I'm a soldier. My pronouns are he, him, his. My job is to feed these kids. Be strong, keep feelings within. My papa taught me to protect the weak. A man ain't what he got, a man is what he gives.
So FYI, for those that don't know, Tom and Dax have been buds for like years. Long before he appeared on Tom's album, from the records I've heard hearing. So it's no surprise that Tom's like on an album with Dax. By the way, over 2 million views, 2.5 million views. Way to go, Dax. Way to go, buddy.
And when he gives it all and it still ain't enough, then he's the one to blame and no one gives a shit. Never leave a man behind. We all crack and break within the hands of time. I gotta axe and grind. With anybody trying to identify as a guy, if their chromosomes ain't XY, you would never understand what it's like for a man. Gotta fight with your hands, wanna cry, but you can. If it's right for the fam, you will tighten your pants. Provide a romance, you would die where you stand. Gotta be a bigger man when there's problems. Get judged by the money in your wallet. It's our fault, let's be honest. We built a world that labeled us toxic. Gotta lead and teach and keep the peace and fight the fires and be police. When a man gets tired, he don't lay down to sleep. He take all the heat, don't complain over retreats. Cold world and it's hard times, and our children inherit the land. If you think that being a boy is just picking a pronoun, you should try being a dad. You can build all the houses and fix all the cars and work till you're breaking your back. But the hardest job in the world, being a man. I'm a soldier. I'm a soldier. When times get hard, I'm who they call. I'm a soldier. I'm the one who they call when my back's against the wall, breaking now or fall. I'm a soldier. Battling feelings I can't even show. Weight of the world on my shoulders is crushing me. People around me, they don't even know. I put on this cape and go save everybody while I'm being shattered and all of my bones. Take on the pressure of being the hero who saves, but has no one to help with his own. Demons inside that try to eat him alive. I'm going insane, and when I'm out of my mind, I look at the stars and talk to God in the sky. I wait on his words, but I don't get a reply. I try to refrain from diving deep, so I hold back tears that try to come out my eyes. In this world as a man where we know we can't cry, cause the people we love look at us to confide. So I'm silently screaming for help. Life is a battle inside of these trenches, especially when fighting it all by yourself. PTSD from the memories, people who left you for dead and then drug you through hell, leaving you shot deep inside of a shell with stories you hate but nobody to tell. While you question God if your soul is soldier. I'm a soldier. When times get hard, I'm who they call. I'm a soldier. I'm the one who they call when my back's against the wall, breaking now or fall. I'm a soldier.
I like it. It's a good song, actually. Dax always does pretty much deliver that, so. Well done, Dax. Alright, what else have we got? Benny Johns. Goodbye Joe from Knox Hill. Mega Girls, Rise Up.
By now, everyone has seen the feminist meltdown videos from TikTok, or at least a tiny fraction of them. It would take multiple lifetimes to even begin to sift through the crazy content that they're publishing over there. But thankfully, there are also some, at least a significant portion of normal young women over on TikTok.
By the way, god damn, these girls are fine. Just saying.
Are some making fun.
And by the way, they're also probably not competing in the 4B movement too, so you know, like, Guess who's gonna win that argument?
Of the lunatics in their generation, Generation Z, but also trying to talk some sense into them.
Get ready with us while we tell you why we're so mad that Kamala didn't get elected president. I just really was excited to see my future daughter get destroyed by men in sports. You know, would have been a proud mom moment.
I've never ever in my entire life wanted to be a homeowner or like marry someone who wanted to be a homeowner. And so it just sucks now that houses will probably be a little bit more affordable. I just wanted to live in an apartment for the rest of my life.
God damn. Based.
I wanted my future son to be able to use a tampon in a men's restroom without being judged. Or just like in general. I was really excited to lose all these boys to World War III. Finally get out of our hair.
I really wanted my third grader to learn about sexual reassignment surgery and stuff like that. I just don't understand why people wouldn't want their kids to learn about that. It breaks my heart that people want to keep that secret from their kids. Teach them young.
And you may have heard about the rise of the 4B movement now in the United States, which the feminists on TikTok discovered somehow was a radical feminist movement in South Korea where the women swore off dating, marriage, sex, and having children. And thankfully, we have some...
By the way, the 4B movement in South Korea was, from what I've heard, massively blown out of proportion. Most of the Korean girls were like, yeah, we're not competing in this. It was a small subset that they amplified to like the nth degree. But, yeah.
Normal young women in America trying to help the 4B movement here become a success.
This goes out to all the women who are now participating in the 4B movement. Congratulations, you finally figured out what abstinence is. You also figured out that it's kind of important that you want to have a good relationship with the person that you're having sex with. Because when you're doing the act of procreation, there's a slight possibility that you might actually procreate a child. You also proved, though, that you are in fact using this as a form of birth control and not in the 0.01% of the two things that I cannot mention on TikTok. But I gotta say, pardon my French, but how dare you that you sit in America and all your privilege and shave your head and post some of the most horrendous, awful, evil, and just disgusting things that I have ever read and seen on the internet directed towards other women who simply just voted different than you.
My friend sent me a video about liberal women shaving their head, and I was like, okay, and now I'm seeing it all over TikTok, and I'm like, they're really doing this. They're really, and like divorcing their husbands and stuff, and I'm like, go for it, honey. Leave all the men out there for the conservative women to repopulate with, because we don't need this in the next generations. This is mental disorders.
Wow.
I am so confused right now.
There seems to be a bit of an epidemic on women that are suffering from mental disease. We should probably do like a health check on most of the Democrat women. For some reason, seem to be suffering. Maybe it's something in the food. Maybe Kennedy can get on it.
The amount of girls that are coming up on my For You page talking about Trump has been elected president. Oh my gosh. We don't have any rights anymore. My grandma has more rights than I do. What the heck are you talking about?
Well, they've been infected with the liver pathogen, which is a mental disorder.
Yeah.
What?
For a start, he's not even in the White House yet. So how do you now have no more rights than your grandma when he hasn't even taken power yet? If he was to do all this, and there's a big if there, if he was to do this, he would need to be in the White House first. You know, like you can't. It's like trying to count to 2 without doing 1. It's like, you know, like 0, 2, 3. No, it just doesn't work like that.
I can buy a car. I can buy a home.
Yeah.
I can go to school. I can get a job. I can do everything a man can do. I can vote. I can vote. I have the freedom to go onto this wonderful app and speak whatever I feel like.
Well, actually, you're still pretty young and got a lot to learn about the censorship industrial complex. But overall, you're making some good points.
You guys know how stupid you look in on TikTok crying because Kamala lost? If Trump would have lost the election, you would not see one Trump supporter on the internet crying. You would see us getting our clothes on and going to work because that's what we would have had to do.
take care of your asses just so you could have an abortion.
Let's just do a quick compare and contrast between the conservative girls, normal girls, and whatever you would call these people.
So last night, I told my mom and dad that because they voted for someone who wants me dead, that they no longer have the privilege of having their daughter and their granddaughter.
Jesus fucking Christ.
And
For a start, just the fact that she disowned her family, but like, Jesus Christ, look at her, holy shit.
No life.
Actually, Donald Trump tried to save your life and others by preventing illegal aliens from invading our country and roaming our streets, while Kamala Harris literally welcomed them and doesn't want criminals to go to jail.
And I told them, never contact me again. I'm never calling you. I want nothing to do with you. And take me out of the will. I have a younger brother who is also a MAGA. I said, when you guys pass away, give him the entire house. I don't want to inherit your house. I don't want anything.
I guarantee you, if something was to happen to her mum, this would soon change. Please, I hope to God that her brother has screen capped this, because I guarantee you, if something was to happen to her mum, it would radically change.
Anything from you, I don't want to hear from you ever again, because I'm no longer safe being in a relationship with you, because I'm quit.
Sure you're not. Okay, sweet. No worries. Yep, you're fine, darling. You live in your little bubble. Maybe join that blue site.
I'm autistic. I'm like
retarded. You forgot retarded.
Half disabled. I have Lyme disease.
No, I think you're fully disabled, and you probably don't have Lyme disease. To be honest, you probably don't. But whatever.
Using pots and a bunch of other.
She has more diseases than a bloody Burns. I tell you. Remember that episode where Burns has like got 100 diseases and they're trying to cure him all before he like really bring him back to life? She's like Burns, but still alive.
Stage 4 Trump derangement syndrome, among others.
Yeah, I would say that the stage 4 TDS is probably her biggest problem. There we go, fit to content.
And I'm bisexual. I have 2 daughters. And
God help them. Seriously, God help your daughters. That's all I have to say.
And my husband's also bisexual. It's like...
Of course he is. Gay!
It's like, you just did your parents and your family a favor. The only thing left to do would be for Child Protective Services to take this woman's children and then put them with their grandparents, with her parents, in order to give them a normal home to grow.
Please tell me that happens.
All right. 4B movement starting. You know what we're gonna do?
The same thing that you've been doing your whole life? Repelling men?
We're not gonna dye our hair anymore. We're not.
Oh God. God no. Please don't. Please don't. How are we ever going to survive without you putting your fake hair, like, because like hair dye it's like, guys, I don't know about you, but when I see a girl with dyed hair, I am totally convinced it's legit. Even when I take her home, I pull down her pants and the carpet doesn't match the curtains. I am just like, wow, you're weird. That's so weird. Like, we totally believe the real hair. By the way, like, yeah, this girl looks like she's 35, 40. Let's face it, her prospects are pretty slim. But, you know.
Not gonna do makeup. We're not gonna use...
Oh, please do your makeup at least. By the way, you also got that septum piercing too, right?
Use filters. We're not gonna go get the skin stuff.
Is it still a septum piercing when it goes through the side of the nose, or is it just the center of the nose? Let me know in chat.
We're not gonna dress up and look nice. Why? So that they can come and act like they own us because we look like this? Absolutely not. No.
Your body, my choice. I love that saying.
Yeah.
Look like what? Some homeless person?
You wanna fight? I'm ready to fight. Like dueling, let's do this, okay? But at the same time,
every time a girl says that, she's not serious. I did a video about this a couple of days ago. There was one that was claiming that. It was like, darling, really? Cut it out.
Sorry, you do not have control over my reproductive rights. You do not have control over my body. You do not...
We don't...
Your body, us, right? Your body, us, say.
We don't want to be anywhere near your body. We don't want to see your body. We don't want to hear about it. We don't want to see you at all. I mean, what's next? Are they going to start saying that they want to bring back the face diapers during code lockdowns as a way to hide themselves from society? Oh, wait, what's this?
Easiest and most effective form of protest you have right now that you can start immediately, put a mask back on. Stop letting them observe your face.
Please do.
And have the side benefit of better health and protecting the rest of us in the world. Put a mask back on. This government.
Now, this woman who was obviously overdosed on Botox, cheek fillers, and lip filler.
Oh, yeah, you can see the lip filler. Ugh. And no wrinkles on the forehead. She's obviously got Botox.
Has a totally different idea about how things are going.
All of the MAGAs in our personal life are freaking out because we're no longer associating with them. We no longer want...
No, darling, no one is freaking out, trust me. We're looking at you thinking, is it a sea monster? Can we put it back in the ocean and maybe it'll turn into a mermaid?
Want anything to do with them.
No, we're not freaking out. We're celebrating. Thank you.
Yeah.
Goodbye.
There is not a single ounce of affection that a man will get out of me after this election. I'm not dating men. I'm not sleeping with men. I'm not talking to men. Y'all lost that privilege.
Ugh. And by the way, the choker, she probably secretly likes being choked out.
That's fine. You're what's called a lesbian. Have fun. And if you want to have fun, order your Trump Claw sweatshirt from my online store, which is now back in stock, or your Liberals Tier mug, or any of my awesome designs. The store has just gone through a redesign, so now you can go up to the top and click the different categories. A whole bunch of different mugs available, just like the shirts, a bunch of women's designs, some new hoodies, some beanies as well. So head on over to markdice.com or click the link in the description below and check it out.
All right.
I've had it, and I am angry, and there are a lot of Americans who feel the same way. We live in a time where there are people voting for Kamala Harris solely off of that she is a woman and a person of color. We don't know what she is. What she's not is a leader. The South, parts of the South just got hit with a terrible storm. People have lost their loved ones, lost their lives, lost everything. She is not there. Joe Biden is not there. No one from the Democratic Party is there, but guess who is there?
Trump and his wife in Hedgesville. I don't care what anyone says. Actions speak louder than words. And this is speaking volumes. Trump in an area hit by flood.
Hope. He gives the people hope. He makes the people feel like they don't have to be ashamed to love our own country. I believe he stands with us, and he's not going to sell our country to the highest bidder. This is not China. This is the United States of America. We are the freest country in the world. Let's keep it like that. I've had it, and I am angry, and there are a lot of Americans who feel this.
Yeah.
President Trump just hired this black student to his cabinet after he killed it in the company of Charlie Kirk.
Concretely, in America today, what can a white person do that a black person can't do? Black applicants to jobs are 50% less likely to get jobs with they have a black-sounding name. That's not even close to being true. That's not even close to being true. That is a literal. In fact, it's the opposite. I'm not gonna argue your experience. I'm not gonna know. See, now you have to listen to him under your rules because a black person is gonna say you're wrong.
I am. He can say I'm wrong. I know.
Come on up to the mic.
I know. I have read your.
My name's Keemon Dixon. I have a really black name. Please tell me how 50% of my internships have been denied when I've worked for Senator Mike Lee, Mayor Trent Stack, Speaker Mike Schultz.
Hold on.
I worked for a Congressman, Burgess Owens. I've actually worked on his campaign. I've worked on the campaigns of John Huntsman Jr. Please tell me how my black experience and my black name has not given me shit. Go ahead.
So.
That's right, but now he realized he fucked up.
President Trump.
I'm allowed to wear a hat. I mean, I can express.
Would either of you name
one positive thing that you respect in one another.
Look, I respect his children. His children
But that's not him. That's his children.
are incredibly able and devoted, and I think that says a lot about Donald. I don't agree with nearly anything else he says or does, but I do respect that, and I think that is something that as a mother and a grandmother is very important to me.
Well, I consider her statement about my children to be a very nice compliment. I don't know if it was meant to be a compliment, but it is a great. I'm very proud of my children, and they've done a wonderful job, and they've been wonderful, wonderful kids. So I consider that a compliment. I will say this about Hillary. She doesn't quit. She doesn't give up. I respect that. I tell it like it is. She's a fighter. I disagree with much of what she's fighting for. I do disagree with her judgment in many cases, but she does fight hard, and she doesn't quit, and she doesn't give up. And I can
Notice, like, she was, like, going on about his children, not him per se. And his response was all about her. That's big.
consider that to be a very good trait.
Yeah.
I've had it. And I am angry, and there are a lot of Americans who feel
Alright, let's see what else we've got. What's Knox's view on the...
My cousin was a pitcher on that clean, but
boy Knoxo, who has gone happy, more people up really care about like that song. We got hats, we got shirts.
He's probably going to vibe to it, let's face it. Don't know if we really... Guys, go check out Knox Hill. He's great. Alexandra.
We finally did it. Red wave taking over the land. We finally did it. Them tears, they falling down. Yeah, they ain't any feelings. But there's nothing y'all can do about it. Just accept it. Just accept it. Walk around with your head down, just falling out. Just accept it. You know we won. It's over now. Trump won again like live, live. Trump won again like live, live. Now we locking up the Beatles like Kamala crying with Doritos like killing all the live eagle like yeah. Where the Trump haters at? Y'all quiet, I don't even see the comments in the back. Stop hiding, y'all was talking all that smack when you commies had Biden. Now Trump is your president, say hello to your highness. It's cold winter, red wave digging deep like a gold digger. Conservative, I'm proud to be an American. Liberal, super hurt cause they was cocky and arrogant. Overly confident and rooting for communist Kamala. I'ma just dominate for 4 more years and I'ma take all the hate. Underlay, line them up just like a barber, eh? Beyonce and the Carters couldn't stop the wave. Popping champagne to the lib-tier ocean. I can feel the pain.
I don't think celebrities have much influence anymore. I agree with Neurotic on this. I think at the end of the day that celebrities have sort of passed. And not to mention, like, with all this PDD stuff coming out, I think at the end of the day that people are just very much more over celebrities and their virtual signaling, because it's like, well, you've been a bunch of pedos. Like, what'd you expect?
Pain got y'all moving slow motion. Just move out the way, cause the red gang coasted. Move out the way, semi-trucks about to close in. Took the garbage out, and that's exactly what we did. Glad bags on the commies, had to snatch it from the kids. No more trafficking and open borders, that's just how it is. You want communism, move to China, show them how you live. Ain't no better place than the USA. We on God's time, they know we don't play. Bought a championship ring, cost a couple K. Diamonds blinding all my haters as we dominate, yeah. And there ain't nowhere to run. Trump's the greatest president and he finally won. All the Trump haters logging off the internet, cause we got him in the web like a damn tennis net, boy. Trump won again like live, live. Trump won again like live, live. Now we locking up the Beatles like Kamala crying with Doritos like killing all the live eagle like It's a red alert, I know they head is hurting. Got them tripping in the metaverse, we got them dead in dirt.
Take the tampons out the boys' bathroom. That'll soon drive him up the wall like some Adderall capsules. Camel toe, Harris lost even after cheating. Bet she crying in the back, falsetto like the weekend. How y'all like losing? Red blood oozing out your back like some Kool-Aid. For the next 4 years, y'all gotta see his toupee. We stopped the deep state, tied him up like a shoelace. We had to do it today. Inauguration about to celebrate with some juice. Had to shake him like a dice game on a Tuesday. Woo! It's getting hot in her. No more they and them. Yeah, do you concur? Jesus is king. If you say the word, demons get exposed. When I put in work, yeah, it's a landslide. Too big to rig. Too sad, too bad. You lives will live. We had to save the new gen and kids. Home of the brave. The U.S. is here, yeah. Trump won again like live. Live. Trump won again like live. Now we locking up the Beatles like Kamala crying with Doritos like killing all the live eagle like
Help our country heal. Help our country heal. We have a country that needs help, and it needs help very badly. We're going to fix our borders. We're going to fix everything about our country. And we made history for a reason tonight, and the reason is going to be just that. We overcame obstacles that nobody thought possible, and it is now clear that we've achieved the most incredible political thing. Look what happened. Is this crazy?
Well, I find his songs are a little bit hit and miss, but yeah, it was alright. Lonely Dirt Road by Dax. Haven't heard this one either actually. Let's do this.
When I need space, that's where I go. A place to escape that nobody knows. Where I feel free to let things go and face this evil that burdens my soul. I bring my hatred, I pack my pain, all the emotions I cannot explain. It's where I found God and filled that hole. It's He, myself, and I on that lonely dirt road. I needed somewhere to take my mistakes. I didn't want my family to see me cry. They'll never know I'm carrying all of this weight, dealing with the pressure of trying to provide. No sign of struggle can show on my face. They ask if I'm okay, I just flash them a smile. Fire up that engine to take me away. I'm speeding through emotions with every mile. On that road is where I find my peace. I remember Daddy told me about some times like these. On that road is where my mind's at ease. I keep driving life away, rejecting change. So when I need space, that's where I go. A place to escape that nobody knows. Where I feel free to let things go and face this evil that burdens my soul. I bring my hatred, I pack my pain, all the emotions I cannot explain. It's where I found God and filled that hole. It's He, myself, and I on that lonely dirt road. I tried my best to plant the seeds and then I watered everything that was in my life. But as a man, the only flowers that you get are when you're 6 feet under on the day you die. I think I feel the pain my father felt. It's finally sinking in. Looking back, all I see is his eyes. He said that house is not a home unless you build it on respect with some kids and a loving wife. If these walls could talk, I'd bet they'd say it's all my fault. That I don't try hard, that I ain't man enough, that I ain't standing up, that I just burn everything that my hands touch. Whoa. If these walls could talk, I'd bet they'd say I'm to blame. That I'm the one who put myself inside of all of these chains. That my addictive personality's what ran them away. And that I hurt myself by staying quiet and not explaining. I'm broken in places I can't even see. I know there's gotta be a heaven, cause the hell that's in me is taking a dangerous toll.
he always sings a lot of these sort of emotional songs, doesn't he? He's always singing about feelings and stuff like that. He does some of the political stuff. I wish he would do more of the politics. Especially considering, like, you know, not to focus on black or white, but he is a black person. He would have a lot more sway when it comes to talking about like politics, especially with the black community, because he is part of the community, right?
On that lonely dirt road.
What else have we got? What have we got? Another half an hour? Guys, you have any videos you want me to watch? Feel free to post them in chat. Post them in Discord. Samson's got a new one out. Samson is amazing, by the way. I just want to say, probably. I don't know what his subscriber count at the moment. 200,000. Pretty much critical under sub, but yeah.
But I'm looking like Joe Dirt. When I pull up with the mullet, make your whole squirt. Motherfuckers always making fun of me, but guarantee when nobody's around, they're
Did he just say make your host squirt?
Motherfuckers always making fun of me, but guarantee when nobody's around, they're gonna study me like homework. Never bought a bitch a fur coat or a Coach purse. Nobody's around, they're gonna make your whole squirt. Motherfuckers always making.
Yeah, he did. He said make your host squirt. Fuck me.
Fun of me, but guarantee when nobody's around, they're gonna study me like homework. Never bought a bitch a fur coat or a Coach purse. I don't even try to flirt. She's the one who spoke first. I just show up at a house randomly and give the bitch a couple inches out of nowhere like a growth spurt. 2 12s in my trunk, shake the whole earth. Po told me turn it down, but it won't work. When I drove by your home, all of the artwork hung on your wall fell off harder than smoke perk. Hitting lows while the tweeters in the bows chirp. Got a freak sitting shotgun wearing no skirt. Put the seat back, turn the music up and cruise slow while I get some road hit from Congresswoman Boebert. She was sucking on my balls like a gumdrop. Made my toes curl, had my stomach in a knot. I busted my nuts sitting at a red light. I said, damn bitch, really made me come to a stop. I returned the favor and I munched on her box. Threw her legs to the side and put my tongue in her twat. Shit looked like a water park when I got done. Had to stop at Walmart with a sponge and a mop.
She looked like a water park. I had to stop and get a mop and bucket. Is that what he said? What the fuck?
Taking a sponge and a mop. Ugh. If you f***ing a mop, got done. Had to stop, put my tongue in her twat. Shit looked like a water park when I got done. Had to stop at Walmart to get a sponge and a mop. Ugh.
I had to stop at Walmart and get a sponge. And what was it? I love that. A sponge and a mop.
If you feel me holler, got done. Had to stop at Walmart to get a sponge and a mop.
Had to stop at Walmart and get a sponge and a mop. I have to use that sometime.
If you feel me holler, lady, the rap game's lonely cause I'm killing all you lately. I flee the murder scene and I peel off in a Mercedes with the windows rolled down, bumping $1 Million Baby. Trying to get more plays than Tommy Richmond till I got $1 million in my palms, I'm clenching. Trying to put my mom and dad in the bomber's pad so they don't gotta give a fuck about a job description. Knocking on the door like bang bang, who's this? If they don't open up, then I'ma spray flames through it. Everyone inside will have to vacate, move it. I never ask questions, I just take aim, shoot it. If they hating on me, it's cause they can't do it. Gonna be great cause I'm making grade A music. Bunch of lame motherfuckers, they just can't hang with it. Cause I'm best in class like a straight A student. Every time I see you on the stage, they boo it. It would be a miracle if they take to it. You're bottom of the barrel, but you swear you're on the top. About to put a stop to it like I drank brake fluid. Ain't pulling no tricks, bitch, I came to stunt. No pad so sharp, I got paper cuts. When you listen to me spit, it's kinda like deer hunting. Cause you know you're always gonna get a bang for your buck.
He does look a bit like JoJo with that mullet though, I will say. But I love Substance. Substance good. What else have we got? What goes all this? Oh, Peterson's
You know,
thoughts.
I've been watching in the last week. It's been unbelievably interesting from my perspective, personal perspective even, to watch the legacy media finally wake up and realize that it's not 2005. You know, 6 months ago, 7 months ago, I read an account of Gavin Newsom opining about Joe Rogan and me, said that his own son was watching Rogan and me and other fringe figures. And I thought, I don't know what planet you occupy, Mr. Newsom, but Joe Rogan is the most powerful journalist who's ever lived by an order of magnitude. You know, CNN is the fringe. MSNBC is the fringe. Gavin Newsom is the fringe. Joe Rogan he runs the most popular podcast in 92 countries. It's like, that's not fringe. And so, if you are suffering from Trump derangement syndrome, I would say you could watch the podcast he did with Rogan and with Theo Vaughn, and you could see what he was actually like when he wasn't completely on the defensive from being attacked like no other politician in living memory has ever been attacked. But more importantly than that, even independently of Trump himself, even if you're frightened of Trump, it's like, oh, so you're also frightened of Kennedy, who was a Democrat, and you're frightened of Tulsi Gabbard, who was a Democrat, and you're frightened of Vivek Ramaswamy and Vance, who in a normal world would be a Democrat, and Trump himself, who's a pretty weird Republican. It's like, and so Trump has gathered these people around him, and he's invited them in and accepted them, and they're a very strange crew. And even if Trump has his rough edges, which he genuinely does, it's like, well, he's not alone there now. And so that's a really good deal. Like, my sense was, especially when Musk jumped aboard, I thought, oh, if Musk would do something like establish a Department of Governmental Efficiency, I would support Trump just for that. Like, just that. But that's not all he's got. I think Gabbard is great. She's very, very solid. She's the candidate the Democrats should have run. She's everything Kamala Harris claimed to be. It's like, why the hell didn't they run her? They could have. You know, maybe it's because she had her own thoughts.
Always believe in what can be, unburdened by what has been.
Well, and then the other thing I'd say about Trump, and this is even more important than the team, which is really relevant, but more importantly, the best predictor of someone's future behavior is their past behavior. So if you're hiring someone, you should look at their general cognitive ability, you should look at their temperament, but if you have a track record that's quantifiable of their performance in that position, and it's positive, it's like, there you go. That's the best evidence that you have, technically. And I don't know if everyone forgot, but Trump was president for 4 years, and he wasn't Hitler. In fact, 0 wars. 0 wars is not many wars. That's a remarkable accomplishment, you know. But more than that, he also spearheaded the Abraham Accords. Now, the possibility of establishing the Abraham Accords was there in the previous Democrat administration, and the State Department defined it as impossible, and they had for decades. And even in the Trump administration, it took the Trump people a couple of years before they were willing to take the risk, but they did take the risk. And you may have noticed, or you may not have, is even after October 7th, even after Iran did absolutely everything it could to drive the Muslim world into the hands of the extremists, they pulled no punches in doing that. It was a last-ditch attempt to save their sad mullah hides. The Abraham Accords held. And I know that if Biden would have been willing to give Trump some credit, he should have got the Nobel Peace Prize for those Abraham Accords. But even more importantly, the Saudis were ready to sign that damn accord. And Biden wouldn't do it because it would shed positive light on Trump. And that was inexcusable.
The Abraham Accords is probably going to go down as one of Trump's biggest wins. People do not understand how much these cultures hate each other, and they all signed a peace deal. And by the way, I'd love to see that get rectified and brought back in for Trump's new presidency too, to be honest.
And my suspicions are that if things lay themselves out like we hope they might, that the Saudis will sign the Abraham Accord in the next year or so.
Yeah.
That's a big deal. And Trump, he established those. So no wars and the Abraham Accords, and what the hell are you worried about? given that he was president already for 4 years and his track record, it's like, what are you worried about? You think that was all a ruse? And the thing about Trump is he didn't know what he was doing the first time around. You know, he didn't know who to hire. He wasn't a politician. He didn't know anything about the ins and outs of Washington, really. Well, he's a whole different character now. And, you know, his team has already started the difficult process of hiring the 10,000 people that they have to staff the new administration with. They're already all over that. And so I think and pray that he'll be much more successful the second time. And hopefully he can be magnanimous, you know, and say to the Democrats who've been terrified into paralysis by the lies of the legacy media, it's like, you know, you guys can just relax. We're not going on a witch hunt. We're just going to get the economy rolling better than it ever has in history. And we've got the people behind us to do this. We've got important things to do. And so, you know, sit back and watch and try not to fret too hard. And, you know, the probability that the world's coming to an end is actually much lower than it was a week ago.
I must admit, I agree with him a lot in that. But, you know, at the end of the day, we'll just have to see what happens with Trump. But if he can get the Abraham Accords going again, lower inflation, get the economy roaring, no more wars, shit, even if he doesn't do the rest. Oh, immigration too. Even if he doesn't do the rest, it's still going to be a bloody good time to be American. What else have we got? Yeah, we knew that. Well, anyway.
Why do you guys work so?
Why doesn't Kai Trump date any?
Why do you guys work so hard for him? Why does the entire family work so hard for him?
Well, I think we know what his ultimate goal is. And I can tell you, look, you go back and there was an Oprah interview in the 80s and she asked him, would you ever run for president? And he said, only if I felt like my country needed me. You know, only if I felt like things got so bad I had no other choice. I think he did it in 2016 because he knew the country needed him. And I've seen him, look at what he did his first term in office. He had constant incoming, people constantly fighting against him, the left, the media, everybody. And he actually did so many great things for America. Don't forget, he never took a salary while he was in the White House. He donated it. The only president to go into the White House, come out of the White House with less money than he went into the White House with. He's lost zeros off the back of his net worth because he loves America. And I know he knows that his charge is to save this country. And I believe turn it around. And I think whenever you're working for something that's bigger than yourself, it's very easy to keep going, to hustle, to do whatever it is you need to do.
Why do you guys work so hard for him?
Sounds like a good answer to me. By the way, it's good that they confirmed that. I wasn't sure if he actually did take a check in the end. I was talking to someone just recently who was doing the whole man on the street and everything, and we were talking about that actually.
Why does the entire family work so hard for him?
Well, I think we know what his ultimate...
Tonight, I ask you to choose greatness. We are born free, and we will stay free.
With the presidential election coming up in just a few more days, I think it's time that we give a very necessary tribute to Donald J. Trump. He is in a different state every single day. On top of that, he's doing podcasts and so much more. The guy really cares about our country. He doesn't need the money, that's for sure. It's time to give the recognition to Donald Trump that he so deserves. Please make sure you are subscribed to my channel and grab some popcorn. Enjoy this with me.
I want nuance. I want bold colors, red, white, and blue. America, I have seen, Dagan, the last several decades, absolutely fray and decline. When I saw those guys on the boats, on their knees, I mean, that says a picture about him.
I know that actor. I'm trying to think. Chat, help me out here. That actor. What movie is he in? I know him from a movie, but I can't think of it. It's there on the foreground of my head, and I just can't think of it. But anyway.
America that I haven't seen ever before. He's woken up a group of people, Neil, that have gone ignored. And Donald Trump, to me, is the last hope for America.
This country has such potential. I love the country. You have to have heart. You have to take care of women's health issues. You have to take care of poor people that don't have, that they're never going to have a shot. And you
is it SVU? SVU he's in?
have to take care of African American youth who have never been in a worse position than they are right now.
We are standing up for America and for the American people.
There's a group of people in America that feel like they've been ignored. I know that for a fact. They feel like this country has let them down, and the left has hijacked, and some of the right has hijacked our nation. So this is what Donald Trump answers to. It's not anger, it's love of country. And they've all of the media is getting it wrong.
You can't let the critics and the naysayers get in the way of your dreams. Adversity makes you stronger. Don't give in, don't back down, and never stop doing what you know is right. Nothing worth doing ever came easy. And the more righteous your fight, the more opposition that you will face. The people built this country, and it's the people who are making America great again.
First jobs report of a full month of the Trump presidency showed the economy added 235,000 jobs in February. The unemployment rate dropped down to 4.7%.
More jobs available than people available to fill them. Never seen that before. See that from the Atlanta Fed? They're predicting 4.8% growth for the economy. That's huge. If you've watched this program, you'll know we have a generational low for unemployment, an all-time low for African-American unemployment. That's historic.
Treat the word impossible as nothing more than motivation. Relish the opportunity to be an outsider. Embrace that label. Being an outsider is fine. Embrace the label. Because it's the outsiders who change the world and who make a real and lasting difference. Rocket Man is on a suicide mission for himself and for his regime.
North Korea is issuing a new warning to the United States. Korea warned of a super mighty preemptive strike.
Getting a good picture, everybody, so we look nice and handsome and thin.
Beautiful.
Perfect.
They will work toward the denuclearization of the Korean Peninsula.
Breaking news, the U.S. economy added 304,000 jobs last month. That was way ahead of expectations, and it was despite a record-breaking government shutdown.
Over the course of your life, you will find that things are not always fair. You will find that things happen to you that you do not deserve and that are not always warranted. But you have to fight, fight, fight. We are all Americans, and we are all united by one shared destiny. So I'm asking everyone to join this incredible movement. I'm asking you to dream big again. Dream bold, big and bold. Dream big and bold and daring.
President Trump has ordered the Pentagon to pull all U.S. troops out of Syria.
We can make our family stronger, our culture richer, our faith deeper, and our middle class bigger and more prosperous than ever before. Alarmed by the new calls to adopt socialism in our country. America was founded on liberty and independence, and not government coercion, domination, and control. We are born free, and we will stay free. America will never be a socialist country, but we must reject the politics of revenge, resistance, and retribution, and embrace the boundless potential. We must choose between greatness or gridlock, results or resistance, vision or vengeance, incredible progress or pointless destruction. Tonight, I ask you to choose greatness. I am asking all citizens to embrace this renewal of the American spirit. Seize this moment, believe in yourselves, believe in your future, and believe once more in America. I will fight for you with every breath in my body, and I will never, ever let you down. The forgotten man and the forgotten woman. You're not forgotten anymore.
That was really beautiful. This guy, he has a way.
Now, obviously, at the end of the day, you know, actions speak louder than words, right? I believe he'll be able to do it. But yeah, it's I don't know how the Democrats come back from this, because like they must be looking at all these young influencers and all these young people and sitting there thinking, like, how do we fix this? Like, even if they can bounce it around, like, how do you stop this? How do you stop the hemorrhaging? Because at the end of the day, let's say Trump goes through and does everything that he says. He's a average president or a good president, and he does what he says he's going to do. And he doesn't go through, and he doesn't become a dictator. He doesn't, you know, take over the government and all this sort of stuff. How does the media rectify that? They've been saying this man is Hitler for how many months now? And what if he doesn't? How much damage are they going to do to their brand if Trump is just like he was in 2016? Obviously excluding the January the 6th sort of stuff, right? But let's just say it's just an average presidency of Trump's. He goes through, he stops the wars, stops the hemorrhaging, cleans up the school lunches, closes the border, starts deporting all these criminals. What's the media's response? They're going to have to lie. Obviously, they can't turn around and say, sorry, we're wrong. But what's their response going to be? Oh, well, he was Hitler because he did insert bullshit excuse here. So, yeah. It's interesting how they're going to handle this.
Way with words. And to me, the thing is there's so much that the left gets wrong. They want to say that Donald Trump is like a dictator and anybody who follows him is just manipulated, and it's like some type of psychosis where he's hypnotizing us and tricking us. And that is just fundamentally wrong. This guy has had a following for a long time.
Yeah, this is also the same guy that, by the way, also was friends with like Whoopi Goldberg and Oprah Winfrey back in the day. The left hating Trump, it's only recent. It's only new. It's since he kicked her ass in the election. That's what started this whole thing, or was beating her in the election. That's what was the thing that started it. Up until then, he was revered by some of these lefties.
Because people know that he adds value to their life. It's almost like if Donald Trump was compared to food, he's like eating broccoli. He's somebody that is going to nourish our minds. He's somebody that is going to add to our ways of thinking and help us grow, help us be smarter, make better decisions. And he wants us to contribute to our country as well. He wants us to to prosper. He wants the middle class to be successful and to thrive, because that is what our nation is founded on our dreams and being able to accomplish and serve other people so that we can be as successful as Donald Trump, or maybe not even as successful as him, but just as successful as we can be. And he gives us the opportunity to do that. And it's just sad how people have hated on him so badly for years and completely misrepresented everything that Donald Trump is. If I were to describe Donald Trump with one word, it would be selfless. I find it
I'd push back a bit on that. I think she's drank the Kool-Aid a little bit here. I think he's got a bit of an ego. But here's the thing. I'm fine with that. I don't elect someone as a president because I like him. It's not supposed to be a popularity contest. It's a case of who can run the fucking country.
incredibly beautiful to see somebody who has made the American dream possible. And I think that that is somebody that we can look up to. I think that it is much better than somebody who tries to brag about being from a middle class family as if that's a bad thing in any way, because Donald Trump didn't begin at the top. Yes, his father taught him a lot, like all of our parents do, but the thing is, the difference is he used that knowledge, and he didn't take being born to a wealthier family for granted, and he worked for everything he has. And I think that it is quite ridiculous that they try to take that away from him.
He did get the money from his dad from the start. Like I said, I think she's drank the Kool-Aid a little bit, but you know, she heart's in a good spot. But yeah, he did get his money from his family, but you know, like at the end of the day, you know, still, how many people get money from parents and lose it? And he's obviously the exception to the rule.
And say that he was born into it, because he definitely deserves everything he has, and he wants to help the American people achieve our greatest dreams. And I believe that with him as president, our country is going to be in a state where the American dream is possible again. Please make sure that you are subscribed to my channel if you enjoy these videos. I was not expecting to get emotional on this one. I was just thinking that I was going to be like, yay, like Trump is awesome. But wow, that really touched my heart. Thanks for being here. I'll see you next time. Bye.
Hang on guys, I'm just trying to do something.
He is just about the only person on this planet who could do what needs to be done.
Shooter game mode. No, that's the wrong one, sorry. Sorry guys, I'm doing coding in the background. Shooter game mode, exit graph. Shooter game mode, exit graph. There we go, it's that massive great big spider web.
Done to save this country, to save the world right now.
We've been attacked every single day, having systems get weaponized against you, the press go after you. My father was impeached twice. Our two children almost saw their grandfather get assassinated on live TV. He gets up and he does that iconic moment, fight, fight, fight. I'm not sure if I've ever seen something motivate a country as much as that moment did.
What would have happened if that had been successful? It feels like America got a second.
I honestly, I think it was the deep state. Here's my theory for this, right? 2 days before the RNC nomination, Trump is attempted to be killed. Attempted assassination. If he hadn't have gone through and actually survived that attack, Nikki Haley would have been presumably the nominee for the Republican. And either way, we would have had war. The deep state would have had their cards in the hole, both of them, and it wouldn't have mattered which one won.
Chance.
The greatest comeback will be this November when he wins the election for the second time.
Are we good to go? Eric, Lara, first of all, thank you so very much for joining me and for having me at your beautiful, well, it's part of your home, so thank you.
Yeah. Well, welcome to Palm Beach.
Thanks for joining us. Oh my gosh, I can do this weekly. It's incredible. I wanted to start by asking you, Eric, what it's like to be married to one of the most powerful women in America right now?
Good question.
That is a good question. You know, she's never ceased to amaze me. Unbelievable mom, unbelievable wife. Went in, unbelievable TV career, and then went into the RNC, which is, really the Republican Party, and just totally dismantled it and really brought it back to life in an amazing way. I mean, went into an apparatus that was old and kind of established, and went in and raised more money than they've ever seen before, and put a beautiful kind of face to it. And
by the way, can we just give props to the Trump women who are fucking gorgeous? Like even Don Jr., let's face it, he's not exactly an ugly bastard, is he? He's a bloody, for a guy, no homo, he's not bad looking.
Believe me, underneath this beautiful smile, there's a killer in there, and she can do it with grace and poise, and I don't think there's any better spokesperson for the party. I don't think there's any better spokesperson for our family, and she's an amazing mom, amazing wife.
Thanks, honey.
Very tough, but just an incredible person.
That's so nice. This might be hard to answer, but out of the two of you, who do you think is more important to your father's chances of winning office again?
That is, that's a good question.
Well, listen, she has to raise $1 billion, right? And she's well on her way. Right. She has to focus on election integrity, and I don't think there's anything more important in the world than election integrity. So, no, he loves her. He adores her. He always says, I just need 100 more Lauras on TV. If I have 100 more Lauras on TV, he'll tell senators, watch her. Watch. I want you to learn from her. That's how you do it. That's how the party's represented. But no, she's, arguably, I think maybe the most important female in Republican politics right now. And so it's
that's shocking.
Big shoulders to, big shoulders. It's great.
How does that sit with you, or how does it feel to hear your husband describe you like that?
Well, it's very nice. It's very humbling. I mean, Aaron, I never expected any of this. I come from very average background in America. I grew up, I think, like most Americans grew up. I come from a middle-class family. My parents were small business owners. And I can assure you I never expected to have the last name Trump, let alone to get as involved as I have in American politics.
Oh, that's right. She's not actually is she a Trump? No. Yeah, Eric, and Laura Trump, yeah. She is a Trump, yeah. But only by marriage, right? Not by blood.
Politics, and now to be co-chair of the RNC, and then of course to have the weight of representing this incredible family, and a family that truly, were they anything less than worthy, I never would have in 2016 come out and campaigned for my father-in-law the way that I did, and that's really why I started. So I'm humbled, I'm honored, and he's a smart guy because he knows who sleeps next to him at night and who cooks him nice meals sometimes too.
You.
Yeah.
I promise I'll get into more substantial questions in just a second, but when I first spoke to you, I asked you how you met Eric and what attracted you to him initially, and she said your height.
True.
I'd love to know what your first impression of her was.
Tall, beautiful. I love the fact that she's from the South. There's great warmth in the United States. Might not translate over to Australia, but there's a great warmth to this kind of Southerners in the United States. They're nice, very kind of homey, and she was beautiful, and she had everything going for her. She really did. She had an amazing career. She was so many different personalities. She could be so many different people. She had a great culinary career. She had a great kind of media career that she was working on. And then obviously all of a sudden she gets thrown into politics and does an unbelievable job and wins North Carolina, which was her home state for my father in 2016, and becomes such a great spokesperson, and obviously takes on this major role. And everything she's ever done, she's succeeded in, and succeeded in a very big way. And so maybe I saw a little glimpse of that very long time ago, 2008. It's kind of hard to believe.
Oh, look at you with your dates. That's pretty good.
That's got to win me some kind of
we'll
point,
take
right?
that.
At least I got the year right.
And for me, it was the height. So that was a lot. No, I'm just kidding.
The only thing you can't control is the height. You make the point about maybe you saw a hint of what was to come. When you spoke at the convention so brilliantly, you spoke about the fact that Donald Trump believed in you before you believed in yourself. What was it like to have someone like him endorse you in that way?
Oh, I mean, it's unbelievable, to have someone with the elevated status of Donald Trump with, this is one of the most intelligent people I've ever met. He's so smart. he's so great at so many different things and in so many different aspects of his life. This is a businessman. This is a media mogul, a politician, although he hates the term politician whenever you talk to him about it. To know that he believed in me to do things, like initially I talked about in my RNC speech, to win my home state of North Carolina for him. To me, I was just this kind of, Southern girl who lost my way, found my way to New York, and here was this man who not only was so powerful and so many people obviously knew his name, but to me also my father-in-law. And it sort of ups the ante a little bit, I think, whenever it's family. And when this is a person who you have immense respect for and love, and to know that someone who could have chosen anyone in the world to do a job, chose me to do it, and believed in me enough to say, go do it. I know you can do this.
Hey, books.
There's no better encouragement, and there's nothing more powerful to have behind you than that endorsement and that strength. And so I can tell you, every word of it I said in my speech I meant. There have been so many times in my life where I needed just a little extra, and it's amazing how he always kind of has shown up at those times. He may not even know it. Phone calls to me, moments he's kind of stopped by our house, when he probably will never know how much it meant to me. And obviously to put me in this role and give me the opportunity that I've had here at the RNC, incredible and above and beyond anything I could have ever dreamt.
There's many ways in which you are not a normal family that are quite obvious. The fame, the wealth, the power, etc., etc. But I'm sure there are ways that you would be exactly like the rest of us at home with kids in day-to-day lives. What is your kind of normal life like?
Yeah, we're very normal in that. I mean, look, every day, life is crazy for everybody, I feel like, especially when you have kids. And I think it's a priority for us, like so many parents and so many families, we want to do everything we can to prioritize our kids, to make sure, especially for us, we want our kids to have a very normal upbringing. I think they know something is a little different with Grandpa because they see him on TV a lot, but they know him as Grandpa. And they love him because he's Grandpa and for no other reason. And so, look, last night our son wasn't feeling well, so he slept at the foot of our bed on our little couch there. And I got no sleep because every second I heard something, I'm like, is he okay? Yeah. We're like any other family. I rush in the morning to get the kids up and ready to school, and every chance I can, drop them off at school, pick them up from school, take them to gymnastics, soccer, basketball, jiu-jitsu. I want to be there for them and do that. And then the times on the weekends that we get to spend together are really important. And we have a Sunday family tradition. And every Sunday night, you want to tell
dinner.
him? Yeah.
Yeah, we get together every Sunday night. It's really the four of us have a great dinner. It's almost become, we didn't even start it on purpose.
I don't know how it happened,
just developed.
but it's always just the four of us. We want just a family. Any other people that are around, we're like, this is our time.
If Donald arrives, say 8 p.m. on a Friday,
get out of here.
Yeah, it's just us.
Just us.
Yeah,
I love that.
But it's special, and the kids look forward to it, and they know that that's our special time together. And no matter how crazy life gets, we always have Sunday nights to look forward together, to just be a normal family.
Yeah, I love that. Donald is a grandpa. We've spoken about this. Do you look, Eric, at how he is with your kids and go, I wish he was that soft with me when I was younger?
There's no question. Well, first of all, he's an amazing father to me and to Don, Imanka, Baron, Tiffany. An amazing guy. I'd go into his room every day before going to school. He'd always say, Eric, no drinking, no drugs, no smoking. No drinking, no drugs, no smoking. And as a 5-year-old kid, 6-year-old kid, I'm sitting there saying, what the hell is drinking? What's drugs? What's smoking? And he wanted to impress something, that upon us. We are on construction sites when we were 11, 12 years old. He wanted us to learn how to work with our hands, understand kind of building blocks of real estate. That's obviously the industry we're in, the business we're in, and hey, you better be able to pull conduit, you better be able to do tile work and masonry work, and he expected us to learn the value of a dollar, get to know the people who worked on the ground and put their blood, sweat, and tears into projects. And it was the most invaluable thing we ever did. And he expected us to do damn well in school, right? There was no games. Do well in school. You're going to work really hard. You're going to understand the value of a dollar. No games on the side. And my father raised really 5, and my mother, but 5 great kids. There's no problems. There's no Hunter Bidens. There's no excessive drug use. There's no crazy laptops, right? The laptop from hell that we call it. We never had that with any of us. I mean, we were hard workers. We came into the company We built some of the greatest buildings all around the world, some of the greatest hotels around the world. You know, and every chance we had represented our country well, represented our family well. And he's just a remarkable man, and he really instilled values in us. He instilled manners in us. There's no better father a child could have had.
And by the way, not to interrupt, but my favorite thing at the convention was when Kai spoke, and she said he likes to give us candy.
So I tell you what, she's going to be gorgeous when she gets older. Like, they're going to have to beat a stick off the kids, like beat the kids off with a stick.
And sodas, because it's so funny, you know, you asking Eric that question. I always know whenever they've been around Grandpa, because they're like, we got extra candy, and I'm like, oh, I know what's happening. He's a typical grandpa in that respect, and I think that's, I wish people saw that side of him. You know, I tried to convey it in my speech, but this is a guy who has literally the weight of the world on his shoulders, who has people attacking him constantly, who has so many distractions. And yet, the moment when our kids walk in the room, it's the only thing he wants to do. He wants to be with them. He wants to give them as much candy as he can and then send them back to us. But that was my absolute favorite part of the whole convention.
I love that. I love that. No, you
my head's about to explode from coding, so I am having a break from the coding. But yes, I'll show you guys what I've been doing. So this is what we've been working on. We'll just add display capture, and turn it off, and then we can add add display capture, existing capture 2, and that one down there, and then we can move that to that. So right, so this is what we've been doing. So if we hit play, right, so I'll change this. Game modes cuff. Obviously we're just working on the mechanics. We're not doing any of the cosmetic stuff, right? You can go to multiplayer, host the game. You can select your game here. So for example, desert, your seamless travel. You can start. Can't move the mouse, can't do anything. Now I can. And then the red lines are just debug code. And ready. So it's just a test level. But yeah, that's what we've been working on. So we hit play again. Maximize again. Obviously you got multiplayer, for example, you got your connection. So yeah, main menu, quick game, obviously. Yeah, that's what I've been doing, working on this. Alright guys, apart from that, it's probably close to 2 o'clock. It is. I am going to go home and go to bed. Apart from that guys, let me know what your thoughts are in the comment section below. Did you enjoy this? Let me know what your thoughts are in the comments. Apart from that guys, obviously the video has been helpful. Please smack that like button if you're new to the channel. Welcome and subscribe. Apart from that guys, we will see you in the next videos that will be up probably tomorrow. Apart from that, around this time tomorrow. Have a great night. Enjoy everybody.